So we do what's Hondo on the mic from Leo's Paradise. Random screen drop like a Dragon Ball fight. No lie, plan stream stacking up, but here's a twist in time. Freestyling on the deck like Luffy's punchlines. Up the channels faster than Zoro sword swings. Gaming pop culture, it's the chaos he brings. Talking movie reboots, superhero hype. Hondo passing the mic, now Bishop's in sight. Cutting punch screen, frame by frame, I align. Laying bass lines heavy, keep the rhythm divine. Dropping 5 videos, can't keep up with the pace. Pass the mic back, Leo's leading the chase. Off the rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Playing the knob, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. No script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. The rails, no script, just a freestyle rhyme. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life.
Welcome back to the Lunch Hour. How are all you vital idols doing? Damn, do we got a good show today. Do we have a good show today? Because we got some fun shit to talk about. Stuff that I got no idea about. I'm going in blind. I'm going to learn about it with you. Whether it be the Chappell Roan stuff, whether it be the Metatron Destiny stuff. But we also get a bit serious. Like, we can't do one of these lunch hour streams that's serious. So we got some pretty hard politics to cover. But before any of that, yo, it's the lunch hour. Hope y'all getting your protein. You know, your boy got that green tea. No sugar. Let's see who we got up in this bitch. Let's see who we got here. I see my man Matt Stanford is in the house. War Wizard is here. Shout out to the War Wizard. Ramnad Skubla. YouTube asked me if one of your live streams was emotionally manipulative. I didn't answer. It was the Keir Starmer one. So 2 things to that, man. First of all, I appreciate you telling me. I do. That's sus. That's weird. I don't like that. But the answer is yes. The answer is, don't tell YouTube the answer is yes, obviously, but abso-goddamn-lutely are my streams emotionally manipulative. I got one goal. I got one single solitary fucking goal, and that is to radicalize every single one of you watching, if you're not a radical already. Alright, so who else we got? Minimal Ever Live, my boy Tebow, member for 11 months, shout out. There is nothing faker and gayer in the music industry, and Chappell Roan is as fake and gay as it gets. Modern popular music is total garbage. So we can get into the Chappell Roan stuff, bro. But I will say out the gate, I agree with damn near everything you said. Damn near everything you said. Modern music, 9 times out of 10, is awful. The music industry might honestly be worse than Hollywood. But all that said, I like her music. I do! It's true! I can't stand her. I can't stand her. Bro, she got some bops out there. H-O-T-T-O. Like, dude, nah, she got some bops. It is what it is. We got Mando Unchained in this bitch. How you doing, homie? Free Expression Warrior. I hope you had an absolute blast at the AEW show. Sevi coming in. Membership for 5 months. How you doing, little lady? Appreciate you. We got Zax up in this bitch. Ron DFK. Happy Thursday. What is up, my man with a plan? Matt Funcool is here. I appreciate all y'all legends. Man, I don't know a single one of her songs. Can't name a single. Hey, I can't name a single Sabrina Carpenter song. I don't know a single Sabrina Carpenter song. But, okay, Chappell Roan, kind of a local legend around here. I grew up literally one town over from her. My family knows her family. Like, we're in the same age. We ran around some of the same, like, retarded artistic circles. So, Chappell Roan she's very integral to my local area in terms of, like, you know, her music and whatnot. It's cool to see somebody from my neck of the woods effectively live their dream, even though it is absolutely fake and gay. I agree with that completely. So, yeah, that's the reason that I know Chappell Roan, and I can't deny, dude, some of her tunes are a bop. Some of her tunes are a bop. The God Hand is here. Shout out to the God Hand. Low-key fuck with her music. Yes, laugh at me. Nah, man. I'm not gonna laugh at you. Made an 11-year-old cry, removed her songs from playlist. I have not heard that story. That's wild. Michael Doberman is here. And mind you, I've criticized Chappell Roan before. I actually did, like, an entire, I don't know if it was a stream or a video. This was months ago. She was on some bullshit about how, like, she doesn't want to do autographs for fans. She wants to live her life. Like, I've got plenty of issues. As a person, she sucks. As a person, she fucking sucks. We ain't doing the Chappell Roan stuff yet. Y'all trying to jump the gun. Y'all trying to get ahead. You can't get ahead on me, all right? You ain't gonna get ahead on me. This is my show, bitch. I run this shit. So instead, we're gonna talk about this. The entire election just flipped. Liberal hive mind. So I don't know if y'all like me. I don't know if you like me, but guys, I think the midterms are gonna be rough. I do. I think the midterms are gonna be rough. I think that unless Trump and the Trump administration really go all out and make some massive changes, harness some absolute goodwill, we are gonna see some absolute lefty W's. The liberal hive mind disagrees, so let's check it out. In the meantime, what up Zalozy and what up Jerry D. Sills?
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's the meme of the day brought to you by 5mind.com. Well, you know, they wanted us to give up, right? The midterms are doomed. Donald Trump needs to slam the brakes, capitulate.
No, I don't think Donald Trump needs to slam the brakes. Mind you, like, while I do think the midterms are gonna be rough, it's not because Donald Trump needs to slam the brakes. It's because he needs to, like, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a one-track mind kind of dude. But this Epstein file shit, it is a stain on his legacy. Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are some of the worst individuals in this entire administration. They are the ones fucking this up. People don't care about Maduro and Venezuela. In fact, most people are probably all for that. People don't give a fuck about what's going on in Iran. Right? They give a fuck whether or not they can afford gas and bread, and whether or not we get a global cabal of pedophiles to run the world thrown behind bars. Of course, that'll never happen, but those should be the focal points. Yes,
give the
Democrat, he needs to go harder.
It's everything they want. Give up on the agenda. You've heard it a million times before, right? And I've been saying time and time again, stop being a capitulating Republican, always cowering in fear of what the media is saying or the Democrats are cooking up. I said, stay the frickin' course. Get the job done. Unabashedly push the agenda, because that, my friends, is how you win. That's how you achieve an upset. You know, the expected result is to
otherwise you got like what's going on, or what went on with Nigel Farage in the UK. Dude comes in, makes all these promises, and he starts bootlicking the Muslims. And what happened? People flipped on Nigel Farage real fucking fast. You can't have Trump out here, or the Trump administration really, being a bunch of bootlickers for the left in the media.
Lose the midterms? Well, how do you think you're going to pull off an upset victory? By being an absolute coward? Of course not. And not to mention, Democrats aren't even necessarily, or haven't been, really riding any high. They're expected to narrowly flip the House and lose the Senate. And that remains, by the way. I know the betting markets are moving a lot, but if you look at the actual Senate race ratings, Democrats are not expected to flip the Senate. And so I repeat, I don't understand the doom and gloom. I've maintained to stay the course.
The doom and gloom is because people, like, even, all right, MAGA folk, they still all in. MAGA folk, there can be no wrong. But there's a large contingent of motherfuckers that voted for Trump over Kamala basically because the option was Kamala. They're not necessarily fans of Trump. They're not fans of MAGA. They're not fans of the administration. They're not fans of all the policies. But they like some of the shit he was saying. And they liked it exponentially more than what she was saying. You don't really have that goodwill in a midterm, because it's not Trump running against anybody. He doesn't get to get out there and do his thing and be bombastic and, you know, talk shit on the opposition. It's all the lower level folk. And most people don't care about the lower level folk.
Oh, well, it might be a moment of vindication for me. I'm not going to say full vindication because it's one poll, but it appears as though we are seeing a massive break in the polls. This narrative that it's completely over and you might as well give up just fell apart today as a massive shock Zogby poll shows a huge shift towards the GOP. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on and let me explain what I think's happening here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape.
And real quick, Tebow, you say you love paying more than $5 a gallon. That shit's peak. Now, to be fair, you live in a leftist-controlled shithole. Me being in right-leaning Midwest land, I actually got gas yesterday, $30 at like $2.79. I think was what it was. So I think it was $2.79 a gallon.
All right, folks, so just take a look at the poll here on screen. We got a Zogby poll that just dropped that's showing generic ballot basically dead even. Democrats sitting at 46.3% and Republicans sitting at 45.8%. That's a half a point difference. Essentially a statistical tie within the margin of error. And keep in mind, this is still, I repeat, early polling data. The closer we get to election day, the more likely this gap is to close in favor of Republicans. And you could also expect
if you say it's likely to close in favor of Republicans, I need you to give me information and stats and statistics as to why. Because, I mean, I get the margin of error is it can go either way. This is relatively dead even. But I'm not seeing a whole lot of love and positive sentiment towards Republicans from non-MAGA voters.
Republicans overperforming relative to the data. In other words, if this poll is correct, Republicans might actually be in the lead. But the most incredible part about this poll, I'm sure you guys see it here on screen, this is the part that the left is currently dreading. Back in February, Democrats were up 5 points in this exact poll. They were posting this Zogby poll saying, it's over, look at that, a +5 lead. That lead has completely evaporated in roughly a month. And so all this talk of collapse.
Junebug says polls are mostly wrong. I agree. Polls are frequently incorrect. And you know what? It's because nobody's actually polled. Like, I don't know about y'all. I've never been goddamn polled before. Now, I did get a message. I get messages to my phone, my cellular device, from the Democrats all the time. All the time. I don't know what it is. All the time, I get these messages. Leon, can we count on you to vote blue in the Missouri elections? And no matter how many times I text back, fuck off, Demofags, I still always get these messages from them. So most people aren't being polled. No one's ever stopped me in the street and tried to poll me. If you get a poll to your cell phone and you answer it with anything other than some evil, and whether it's from the left or the right, if you get a poll text to your cell phone and you don't answer it with something akin to go fuck yourself or a dick pic or some sort of trolling measure, fuck you, you're retarded and you shouldn't be voting anyway. You shouldn't be participating in polls. If you are, you're retarded.
All this backlash, or the latest insinuation that the Iran operation is destroying Donald Trump politically, there's no coming back from it. Well, where is said destruction? I'm not seeing it. It's not showing up in the numbers, probably, because it's not real. And this is where I keep seeing people lose the plot. Everybody's panicking, everybody's reacting emotionally to the media cycle. But on the issue of Iran, nobody seems to be asking the most important question: what are the political impacts? And also, what if Trump actually succeeds? What if his Iran operation actually works? What if he completely dismantles their capabilities, stabilizes the region, finalizes an actual good nuclear deal, and then walks away with a massive geopolitical win?
That'll never happen. And this isn't a fault of Trump or anything, but no regime, no American regime, no Western regime will ever be able to get peace in the Middle East. Because, let's be real, them Doom Coons been blowing each other up for 3,000 fucking years. We ain't about to roll in all big and bad and stop it. We might be able to mitigate it. We might be able to turn down the fire a little bit for a temporary amount of time. But no, it ain't no president, no Western nation, America or otherwise, left, right, middle, doesn't matter, ever going to give us peace in the Middle East. Because they just love fucking killing each other too much, dude. It's like some people got hobbies, right? Some people read, some people play video games. Over in the Middle East, their hobby is cutting each other's heads off for believing in a slightly different fucking god.
Probably snowballs into Cuba. Nobody seems to be asking that question. No, it's just doom and doom and doom and gloom. And on this particular issue, it makes no sense. We've already, went over all the polling data. Even CNN's own Harry Enton basically made the claim that Donald Trump's
I will say, for all CNN's faults, I like this dude. This dude, right? Now, it's probably absolute lies and media manipulation because it's CNN. It's the Comedy News Network. But he is like the one dude who is, at least in some way, shape, or form, showing semi-positive stuff about the MAGA numbers, so
operation in Iran has been politically negligible. You got these morons all over X saying MAGA's dead, Trump is done, but generic ballot data is now moving in our direction, and Trump's approval rating has essentially been untouched. He still has a higher approval rating than George Bush and Obama during the same time in their second terms. Why are we panicking? And then, of course, you look on the flip side, Democrats are still deeply unpopular, with no end in sight to this approval collapse, and they're expected to make this massive push in 2026, but you ask, what is the pitch? What's the message? Because all I see is Trump evil. We must stop Donald Trump at all costs.
Here's the thing about the midterms. There's no pitch and no message from either side. Because like I was saying earlier, your average folk only care about the president. They don't care about anything else. They don't care about their local elections. They don't care about what's going on. They're voting for governor, senator, things like that. They just don't fucking care. The names aren't out there, left or right. It's completely irrelevant. So you're going to get likely you're going to get some leftist W's, and you're probably going to get some leftist W's in key states. I mean, you already got some leftist W's in fucking Florida. All right, just recently. Florida. I'm pretty sure that's indicative of things to come.
That is their entire identity. But Trump's not even on the ballot. They are offering nothing. No positive vision. There's no coherent policy direction. It's obstruction and hysteria. And all of it is totally freaking useless and incoherent. Objectively useless.
The whole reason, as you just laid out, that DHS is not funded right now is because you're trying to push the administration to enact some policy changes on how Border Patrol and ICE act when they are out looking for illegal
Yes,
immigrants.
we do need changes. We absolutely need change on how ICE handles this shit. We need them to go fucking harder. We need them to go harder. I think every ICE agent, here's what we need to do. We need to invent capsule technology from Dragon Ball. You know how like all big giant machines or whatnot are kept in a little capsule and then they throw it like a Pokeball and it turns into like a fucking car or some shit? We need to invent capsule technology from Dragon Ball. And we need to give every single ICE agent a cannon capsule. That way they can just throw it, grab an immigrant, stuff them in the cannon, and shoot them across the border. Let's maximize efficiency, people.
Now what you're saying is that you're okay with funding TSA, which has been, I think, the biggest point of leverage that you possibly had in order to get what you want on ICE, because ICE already has its money. So what was the point of this shutdown if you're okay with funding TSA?
We never approach these things that are in front of us with respect to government funding in the context of leverage. Our approach is, what is the appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
There's no such thing as appropriate use of taxpayer dollars because taxation is theft. Fuck taxes.
That taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for the American people, not brutalize or kill them or violently target law-abiding immigrant families, which is what we know ICE agents have.
Guys, Sonic the Hedgehog just subscribed. The Sonic the fucking Hedgehog? Game over, bro. Life has peaked. This will be my last stream. I'm retiring, bro. I'm retiring. Sonic the Hedgehog just followed me. Shout out. Thanks, Sonic. Gotta go fast, brother.
Have been doing. And so at this point in time, more than 30 days into the Trump
Matt Stanford,
Republican...
why the fuck you gotta ruin this for me, bro? You know, why the fuck you gotta ruin this for me? I don't like you anymore. I don't like you anymore.
You and I are enemies now.
Department of Homeland Security shutdown, I think the most appropriate course of action is to fund TSA, fund FEMA, fund the Coast Guard, fund our cybersecurity professionals so that Republicans stop holding the American people hostage and these hardworking civil servants because of the Republican unwillingness, at least to date, to get ICE under control. We believe that immigration enforcement in this country should be fair, just, and humane. And
it should not be humane. Fair and just, maybe. I don't give a fuck about humane. They lost their claim to humanity when they started invading our fucking nation. Fuck humanity.
That he was going to go after the worst of the worst, violent felons who are here illegally. That's not what has been happening. They're targeting American citizens.
They're not targeting American citizens. That's a bold-faced lie.
And of course that needs to end.
It's unbelievable. They're shutting down the government over ICE policies because they want to, quote, defund ICE. But ICE is already funded. What are they doing? They're using TSA paychecks as leverage. There is absolutely no point to anything that they're doing. They're not negotiating. They're playing games. It's pure performance. It's political theater. And the whole thing is totally and utterly incoherent. And I just gotta believe that people are listening and paying attention. And what conclusion can you come to listening to this stuff? I mean, this is leadership? You want to replace the GOP with these absolute monumental losers? These are the people who are supposed to inspire confidence and bring the country back in order? It's absurd. They stand for nothing. Well, maybe that's not entirely true. They stand for hating Trump, protecting criminals.
No, he was right the first time. They don't stand for anything. It's hard to stand up when you got no fucking spine.
Protecting illegal immigrants. Again, that's the agenda, and that's what should be repeated over and over and over again, all the way to the 2026 midterms. They keep sticking their necks out for illegal immigrants, for policies that the majority of Americans do not support. They're fighting voter ID. They're refusing to engage on election security.
Please keep fighting voter ID. For the love of God. If there's two things I want the left to keep fighting for, I want them to keep fighting for cutting the cocks off 12-year-old boys, and I want them to keep fighting for no voter ID. Ensure an absolute Republican victory. Bro, keep fighting for those two things.
Not to mention on top of it, to add insult to injury, they're running cover for fraud rings. Let's just mention the Somali fraudsters that got exposed. Did Democrats clean house? Did they condemn the fraud? No, they called you a racist for noticing. Why would anybody want to vote for that? I'm still convinced that the only reason they have even a modicum of support is because most people are living in an information dead zone. They're just not getting the right information.
No. The people that are still actively supporting the left, it's not an information dead zone. Like, okay, you could say maybe older people that are still stuck on legacy media like CNN, Fox News. All right, maybe they're low information. But these young bucks that are all in on the left, they know exactly what they want. They want communism. It's not low information. You could say that it's low information for them to even consider that communism works. But no, it's they have been completely and utterly brainwashed. It's no amount of information will ever change that because they are stuck in this amorphous ether of anything right of Marx is bad.
Being propagandized by the media, and they just don't know. And I really wonder what the world would be like, what this upcoming election would be like, if people actually knew what was going on, if they got a glimpse of what the Democrats were really up to. Here's basically the perfect clip, I think, to really put it into perspective.
I think the fact that we don't have voter ID in places like California is extremely unusual in democracies.
You're goddamn right, Chud King. Yuri Bezmenov told us about this in the 80s. At some point for an episode of Tinfoil Haters, we need to just go over the Yuri Bezmenov speech. Like, just that be the episode.
Maybe like two or three democracies in the world that don't have it. This is just kind of like a standard administrative requirement in a well-functioning democracy.
Excuse me for being so ignorant, asking last question. This is definitely my last question. What do you mean you don't have voter ID in California?
California does not have voter ID. You don't need to present it to register. You don't need to present it to vote. As a matter of fact, the state passed a law forbidding voter ID. So cities, counties, if they want ID, they're not allowed to.
I love Stephen A. Smith, man. I do. Stephen A. Smith, he a funny fucking dude. I know I can't peg him down politically. Pause. It's like he says some real base shit, then he says some real retarded shit. But Stephen A. Smith, a fun motherfucker.
Or state law.
What? When did that happen?
A couple years ago, because I think it was Orange County. They wanted to have their own requirements, so the state passed a law saying, nope, you're not allowed to. Voter ID is not only not required, it is actively forbidden.
Well, that's right. That's it right there. That's why the SAVE Act been proposed. Right there, the state of California. That's what the Republicans going to lean on as an excuse to definitely push forth the SAVE Act. Right there. Right there. I can't believe it. I didn't even know that, sir. I'm embarrassed to admit. Last thing.
La cucaracha. Yeah, that one. We learned that song in like second grade because we had Madagascar hissing cockroaches as class pets. That's so weird, man.
No voter eligibility required. That's Gavin Newsom. Last 2 years, that was Gavin Newsom.
Correct. Well, so the law saying that a locality cannot have its own voter ID requirement. That was Newsom.
There you go. That was Newsom. That's all I needed to know.
That reaction says it all. Wait, what? Wait, what is Gavin Newsom and what are the Democrats doing? Wait, Tim Walz did what? Keith Ellison was taking campaign money from Somali fraudsters and promised them legal protection in response as they were robbing American taxpayers blind? Tim Walz was warned multiple times and retaliated against the whistleblowers? Wait, holy crap. Democrats are fighting voter ID? You don't need ID to vote in California? Wait,
yo,
what?
Stephen A. Smith, man, you gotta watch some Asmongold. You want to be informed, Mr. Smith? You gotta start watching some Asmongold.
Just imagine. And so that's what I'm saying. You got to keep pushing that message forward. Doom and gloom achieves nothing. Keep lighting a fire under the Democrat ass. That's the only thing that needs to be done.
Doom and gloom does accomplish nothing. He is correct. However, when you got dumb motherfuckers like Pam Bondi on TV every day absolutely destroying all the goodwill that the vast majority of the rest of MAGA has built up, it's kind of hard to not get a little doomy and gloomy. Like, why is that bitch still in any sort of power? Why still have a job? Pam Bondi, like, she is even worse. And I don't like Kash Patel. She is even worse than Kash Patel. If Trump wants to, and MAGA in general wants to save this legacy, you got to get rid of that hoe. You got to get rid of that dumb cunt.
Reason to be jumping ship right now, to be cowering in fear. No, do the exact opposite. And also, please understand that Trump and the GOP are not in a position of weakness right now. Actually, they're in a position of historic strength. Look at this Zogby poll. Historically, they'd be behind 8 points, but instead it's dead even. And understand that this is the current situation despite constant hysteria. It's been what, like 14 or 15 months of shutting down government multiple times, hashtag no kings rally, pushing Chinese communist propaganda, now pushing Iranian regime propaganda, anything to demonize and distort the truth. And look at the numbers. Dead even. Trump's approval rating, again, stronger than Obama at the same time during his presidency. It's not time to cave. Just give the Democrats everything they want, then maybe we'll win the midterms. Are you stupid? I mean, genuinely, that's my reaction. Are you stupid?
No one's making that argument. No one is making the argument of, no regular person that is upsetting spaghetti with the way the conservatives have been doing things are making the argument of Trump is going too hard. It is literally the opposite. I don't think liberal hive mind is listening to actual individuals. I mean, maybe he's getting all of his information on X, which, as we know, is loaded with bots that are trying to basically play the same game as the legacy media when it comes to obfuscating and altering and changing the information, basically playing these political media games to get you to think that, we're not living in the real fucking world. Most of these voters are upset because Trump and his regime haven't gone far enough. And that is the case. If they were to go even, I agree with his thing is that, we need to go harder. But that's what most people are saying. The MAGA movement and Trump's administration aren't going hard enough.
Have balls? No, my friends, that's not how you win. You don't win by adopting the other side's freaking narrative. Oh yes, you guys win. We are MAGA fascists that have betrayed our base and have now reverted to being neocons. And Donald Trump's a fascist and the border should be open and ICE is Gestapo. Go F yourself. And the idea that I would allow that narrative to sink in and take control, never. Because the fundamentals are the exact opposite.
Then call out the covert leftists. Call it what it is. These are covert leftists. You got people in there that are pretending to be conservative, pretending to be right-wing. It's like, well, I like low taxes as much as the next guy, but ICE is going a bit too far. Nah. That's a covert leftist. You call that shit out, you get them out of the fucking movement.
Manufacturing jobs coming back, and the most important manufacturing jobs. NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang puts it into clear perspective.
We manufactured the most advanced AI chips in the world, in the most advanced fab in the world, here in America for the first time. All of this started with President Trump wanting to reindustrialize the United States. His terrorist was a pressing agent in making this possible at the speed that we're doing. And now, shortly after less than a year, we're now manufacturing the most advanced chips for AI here in the United States. This is just the beginning of it. With the partnership of the supply chain in Taiwan, TSMC, an incredible partner, a strategic partner for the United States in bringing manufacturing of the most critical sector of technology here to the United States. This is just the starting point, where after that, with so many of our other partners, we're going to bring
Trump
the entire
is a Nazi and a puppet for Israel. Quite a feat. He is a man of many masks, a man of many talents. I one day hope that I can get to the level of being both a Nazi and a puppet for the Jews. Truly a masterclass in political game. What up, Vagabond?
Chain of building AI infrastructure back here in the United States. By the end of the next 3 or 4 years, we'll probably manufacture, we're on target to manufacture about $500 billion of AI supercomputing technology.
You've got American energy independence totally back, plus a surplus of energy. You got steel manufacturing coming back, historic levels of LNG exports. The border is totally secure. Crime metrics are dropping in the most key areas, homicides at a relative historic low. You've got net negative migration, and now possibly a foreign policy victory that could stabilize the most volatile region on
I was agreeing with everything
Earth.
until you got to that point. He was correct. We got low crime rates. We got industrialization coming back. These are all objectively true and absolute dubs. Ain't no goddamn Iran deal gonna stick. There's going to be no historic peace in the Middle East under Trump or under any administration in the history of the entire fucking future going forward.
And people want to doom. MAGA is dead. How about go F yourself? Never. I'm not doing it, folks. I refuse to doom. The numbers simply don't support it. The policy victories, the reality doesn't support it. The fundamentals don't support it. And now we might be seeing the results of that. We're seeing polls starting to tighten. Like I said, stay the course. Don't be overly emotional. Simply pay attention. And sure, at some points, adapt. Try to push things in the right direction. But never, ever fully capitulate to exactly what the Democrats are looking for.
Base.
Anyways, that's
agree. Here's the dealio. This video is titled "The Entire Election Just Flipped." He did not present anything to make me believe that. He didn't. Post a link in the chat for you guys. Make sure to give it a like. I want him to be correct. I would like liberal hive mind to be correct about this, but I don't see it. I don't. As long as you got individuals that, again, Pam Bondi out there saying the dumb shit she's saying, as long as they're going against the will of the American people when it comes to getting rid of the cabal of pedophiles that run this fucking country, not this country, the world, none of this other shit's gonna matter. Okay, none of this other shit's gonna matter. There have been too many limp dick promises not fulfilled when it comes to the MAGA movement. So yeah, people are tired of it. If MAGA would get their shit together and go harder, maybe then we'll talk. But people are soured on MAGA because nothing is being fulfilled, at least not in the extremist way that so many people want it. You got people on the right. You've got these young straight white dudes who are like, we're accelerationists now. We're just gonna start going all in on voting left, like what that dumbass clavicular said and shit like that. That are out here like they are rallying people to accelerate, even, which is not going to work for obvious reasons. You got motherfuckers like Nick Fuentes getting even more popular every day as it grows, and he is obviously a Fed. He is 100% he's a covert lefty. I was talking about the covert lefties earlier. Nick Fuentes is a covert lefty. You don't get to sit there and claim to be some ultra right-wing nationalist, then suck the dick of Gavin Newsom. So yeah, that's where we're at with this. I want to be wrong. I hope liberal hive mind is correct, and we do not see some conservative L's when it comes to the midterms. But he did not present to me anything in that video to make me think otherwise. So there's that. We getting fiery today, baby. We starting off strong. My voice is mostly back. Still got that green tea, a little bit of lemon, a little bit of honey. Make sure you keep them vocal cords in check, son. But we back in the saddle, baby. Back in the saddle. Speaking of feds, I've been wanting to react to this video for a hot minute. It's a relatively recent video, right? Oh, it came out, pretty sure it came out 2 days ago. But anyway, I've had it tabbed. I saw it yesterday and thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to cover this on the lunch hour yesterday with the way my voice was. But we doing it today, baby. We doing it today. Why is the CIA compromising podcasts? Here's the game. And I've been thinking this for a while. I've been saying this for a while. You got homies from the CIA going on Joe Rogan, going on the Flagrant podcast. You got that dude from the thriller, I believe it was FBI, maybe it was CIA, who was gonna do a stream with Hassan, and then he decided, yeah, fuck that, thinks that VTuber, I think it was Pipkin Pippa. He's like, well, never mind, and he's gonna go maybe do something with Asmongold instead. This is all manipulation. All media manipulation. But I haven't seen this video. I'm not familiar with this account, with this channel, so let's get into it.
The CIA used to be a faceless organization. 3 letters that conjured images of redacted documents and men in suits who didn't exist on paper. The whole point of an intelligence agency was that you don't know what it's doing. Now, you can't scroll through YouTube
Phone
without...
Al Kaiser. I don't know if you're new here or not. I'm gonna be real. I don't recognize your name. But if you are, you just hit the jackpot. You hit that dub. It's the newest arm of Operation Mockingbird. Bingo, bango, bongo. Nail on the head. If you're new here, you're going to want to stick around to be here for other streams. Hit that sub button. You're awesome. Yeah, we're going to do an entire episode on Operation Mockingbird at some point, and that very well might be the end of my channel, because it is still going on. Have I watched Arch's video about the alt-right playbook? No, I thought about covering it for this stream, actually, but it's over an hour long. It's like I can't do a reaction to a video that's over an hour long. So I'll figure out how I'm going to do with that.
It's about how all of this works. It's about how all of this works. You've probably seen clips of it yourself, like the grey-haired American man calmly explaining how the CIA told him to pretend to be gay to recruit a foreign spy. So we reached out and spoke to him for exclusive insights, as after seeing clips like this, it was hard to ignore something weird was going on.
Headquarters says, we want you to pretend that you're gay. I said, oh, come
on. Look at that sweater. It can't be that hard for this dude. Look at that sweater. Look at them glasses. If the CIA was gonna tap anybody, be like, we need you to pretend to suck dicks. All you gotta do is open this dude's closet and be like, we made the right choice.
Come on, you guys. No, we really need the information. You gotta pretend that you're gay. I said, okay, I'll do it.
I'll suck that cock for America!
Do it for Uncle Sam.
Or how his boss ordered him to sleep with the ugliest woman he'd ever seen, for the good of the country.
Y'all clip that, you fucking vile, by the way.
Is the ugliest woman I've ever seen in my life. Like, you want to avert your eyes. Like, she came off the side of Notre Dame. She was a stone gargoyle with a giant mole right here with a giant hair coming out of it. That kind of ugly. And my boss says, okay, here's what I want you to do.
The beacons are lit. LGBTQ calls for aid. LGBTQ calls for AIDS, you mean?
I said, what? I said, have you ever seen her? And he said, I know, but we're the good guys, and you're gonna have to take one for the team.
Or how the agency dosed random strangers with LSD in San Francisco brothels.
They rented a safe house in San
This
Francisco.
story is fucked up. This is another one we gotta cover for SNH. This story is insane.
They recruited a bunch of hookers and had them go out and pick up Johns, bring them back to the safe house where they thought they were gonna get laid, dose them with LSD, and then interrogate
if I recall,
them.
I could be wrong, but if I recall, the dude that ran the project, the head of that project, a few weeks after it was finished, fell out of his hotel window. Uh-huh.
There were once conspiracies and now just mainstream knowledge.
I believe very strongly that he was an Israeli access agent.
Did he work for the CIA?
No way. The CIA's job is to collect foreign intelligence. What foreign intelligence did he have? He's spying on Bill Clinton and Bill Gates and Prince Andrew. That's the Israelis.
And he's not alone. The intelligence community is flooding the podcast circuit right now. Gavin DeBecker, not exactly a former intelligence officer, but the man who runs anti-assassination protection for the world's most famous, said this about Epstein.
What he was is a construct. He's a created construct. Money, wealth, private jet, private island, fun, not married, young girls, lots of things. $500 million of money came from Les Wexner, who's a wealthy guy who owns, or owned, I don't know what he's doing now, Victoria's Secret, big donator to the state of Israel. And $500 million was transferred to Epstein along with power of attorney to use it and invest it in the ways he saw fit.
He even described a friend who narrowly avoided it.
He goes to meet with Epstein in New York to ask for money for a charity, and Epstein is in a robe. And Epstein says, hey, they're finishing the meeting. He says, hey, I'm gonna get a massage, hence my robe. You wanna get a massage? And through the hallway, my friend can see a massage table and a room and a very cute girl.
The Epstein situation is where John Kiriakou, a veteran ex-CIA operative, has gone mega viral with his bombshell
and I'll believe Kiriakou for a moment. Here's the dealio. Anytime people come out and they're like, you've got these CIA guys, you got the FBI guys, you got anybody that's in any sort of three-letter organization. David Grush is a great example of this, if you believe in the UFO stuff and whatnot. And they say, oh, well, I can say this, but I can't say this. Or here's as much I can tell you, what I'm allowed to say. They're not blowing whistles, dudes. They're not blowing whistles. This is government drip-fed propaganda. This is media control manipulation. Any of these dudes going viral right now, as much as we want to believe it, as much as like, oh, yes, we're on the right track, shit's getting exposed. No, it ain't. This is controlled answers.
On the Diary of a CEO, he went further than he had before.
Do you think Jeffrey Epstein was a spy?
I believe very strongly he was a spy, yes.
And who do you think he was working for?
The Israelis. I'm confident it was the Israelis.
I don't believe that at all.
Why?
I mean, well, okay, let me rephrase. For those of you that follow me when I did a bunch of the Epstein coverage, the Israelis are only a small part of it. Epstein has a finger in every fucking pie, dude. It was not just the Israelis. It was the U.S. government. It was the UK government. It was probably China and Japan. Like, everyone. Anyone. The Saudis. Dude has his hand in every pie. It is a worldwide cabal. It's not just the Israelis.
Jeffrey Epstein is kind of the stereotypical example that they give you in training for what's called an access agent. If you're a foreign intelligence service and you want information, like close-in information from a former president, from the CEO of the biggest company in the world, from a member of the British royal family, you're not going to recruit these guys. You're not going to recruit Bill Clinton.
And he's made the same point on so many other podcasts with remarkable consistency.
Well, yeah, the consistency would have to be remarkable if you're trying to brainwash an entire populace into believing that this is some sort of disclosure that we're just now learning about. You got to keep it consistent. That's how you know it's fake and manufactured.
The operation, if it's not to collect compromat, it was about blackmail. It had to have been. I don't understand
about
it
blackmail.
otherwise.
Why you gotta bring up Snape like that, dog?
Take 10 minutes to look into it, and they're like, oh my god, he's running a fucking pedo ring at the behest of the Victoria's Secret guy in fucking New York City, and oh my god, they got dirt on everyone, including the current president. This is a crisis the likes of which, if we outed this, everything could fall.
It's traumatic, cutting, and critical of the highest institutions of government. And some of his other disclosures, probably the ones that get less attention because they're harder to meme, are just as unsettling. This video is sponsored by
you guys know the drill.
Cogni.
We're going to be stealing people's content for 33 minutes. We're going to let the ad read play out.
Most people assume their personal data is scattered around the internet by accident, but in reality, there's an entire industry built around collecting and selling it. Data brokers compile huge profiles on people, name, addresses, phone numbers, family members, browsing habits, and then sell that information to companies you've never even heard of. Once your data is in those databases, it spreads fast, but Incogni helps remove it. Instead of trying to track down dozens or even hundreds of data broker sites yourself, Incogni contacts them on your
I would not
behalf
believe if he
and
was on
requests
Candace
the
Owens' show
removal
and
of
he's
your
a cat.
personal
Oh,
information.
Candace Owens is a fucking
And they don't just
moron.
do it once, they continuously monitor
she is
and
a
send
moron.
removal requests as
She's
new
always
databases
been a moron.
appear. So
Go back and look
rather
into her
than spending
Gamergate
hours
days.
chasing
She was
these
a moron.
companies
She was a leftist back
Incogni
then.
handles the
Candace
process
Owens is an example of a
automatically. So
covert
if you want to take
leftist.
back your personal data today, use code MOONREAL at the link below and get 60% off the annual plan. That's go to incogni.com/moonreal to get started today. On the Danny Jones podcast, he described what came out of the Vault 7 leak. Tens of thousands of pages of classified CIA documents dumped to WikiLeaks in 2017 by an angry software engineer. The revelations
I didn't realize it was
feel like they're
sarcasm,
from a
my
movie
bad.
or a video game.
You'd be surprised how many people in my chat
that
like
the CIA has
not
developed
come in and actually
technologies
do
to-
buy into the Candace Owens shit.
Who, for example, remotely take over your car by hacking into the chip, right? Why would the CIA want to take over your car? To make you drive off a bridge, maybe? To make you drive into a tree
Yeah,
and
but
kill
why the
yourself?
FBI gotta do that? Like, yes, they can hack into your car and make you drive off a bridge. Yeah, or they can just give you a woman chauffeur. That's probably easier and cheaper.
To make you drive into an
Oh,
abutment
slash S means
and make sure that
sarcasm?
there's
Okay,
no
I
way
didn't
you
know
can
that. Thank
survive because they've got the thing going 140 miles an hour and you can't control it. They develop technology to reverse your smart TV to make the speaker into a microphone with the TV still appearing to be off, so you don't know that it's broadcasting everything that's being said in your house to CIA headquarters.
And then this one, which is shocking though probably not surprising, yet he's somehow presenting it as a simple fact.
They were able to hack into other countries' most sensitive technological systems and to leave little scraps of code, but the scraps of code are written in Russian or in Persian, in Farsi. So people say, oh, the fucking Russians hacked into us, or the Chinese, or the Iranians. And actually, no, it was us. but you'll never know it.
The way these stories are delivered makes you think they're putting their lives on the line to tell us, like a noble act for the good of us, the humble public. Access agent, compromat, intelligence peddler, he sounds like an insider decoding the story for civilians, and his career definitely backs this up. But if you look really carefully, you start to see a few deviations that make you wonder what's really going on here. His views evolve, but the timing is key. On his earlier appearances, he was strong on Epstein being a Mossad access agent. Then the latest tranche of Epstein files came out, and suddenly, his position moved.
I've always maintained that Epstein, to me, was obviously a Mossad access agent. And I said that right here on the show. Now, with the release of this latest tranche of documents, I think he was more than that, and that he was probably not exclusive to the Israelis.
Put another penny in the Leon was right jar, baby! What I just fucking say like 3 or 4 minutes ago.
We know from these latest documents that he had some sort of association with MI5 and MI6, essentially the FBI and the CIA of the UK. We know that he made an approach to the German intelligence service. And we know that he tried hard to get a one-on-one meeting with Vladimir Putin.
When he says Epstein was an Israeli agent, that theory had been circulating for years based on Ghislaine Maxwell's father Robert Maxwell's documented Mossad ties. When he describes the hidden cameras on the island, the New York Times had already reported them long before he mentioned them. When he describes the sweetheart deal, that was one of the most covered aspects of the entire Epstein saga. On torture programs back around the 9/11...
For the 10 of you in my chat that don't know what Operation Mockingbird is, you're finding out in real time, baby.
And Guantanamo Bay era, John got ahead of the official narrative and paid for it with his freedom. On Epstein, he doesn't take any real risk. On the safest possible question, did Epstein take his own life, he goes with the consensus.
Did he commit suicide?
I believe he did.
You really believe he did?
People don't realize that in the Bureau of Prisons, everybody has his head up his ass. The cameras never work. The guards are always sound asleep. This happens all the time. These suicides, they happen like literally every day in American prisons.
That might be the single lowest risk position on the single most controversial question in the entire Epstein story. He even hinted at how he might not know too much at all.
I said that I was confident that Epstein was a Mossad access agent, and I believe that I've been proven correct.
So he was proven correct by information that became public, not by anything he independently knew. Which should tell you how much deeper the Epstein story really goes, when even serious CIA whistleblowers can't give you something extra. It makes you ask how absurdly
They're not
dark it
whistleblowers.
is.
I know I said this already, but I need to drive the point home. These people are not whistleblowers. Alright? Whistleblowers are people that actually took risk, and there is a potential for legal or even straight up the ramifications of like death. Edward Snowden was a whistleblower. This is controlled drip feeding of government propaganda disguised as whistleblowing.
Those who literally went to prison for whistleblowing only confirm the information drip-fed to us. But the aim is not to discredit John, as he's a rabbit hole in himself, and that tells you a lot about why the CIA is trying to make intelligence accessible to the public in the first place. He spent 14 years in the CIA. He led the raid that captured one of the first major Al-Qaeda figures taken after 9/11. He was the first US government official to confirm that the CIA was waterboarding prisoners. And then...
Operation Mockingbird is not a conspiracy theory. I just want to point this out. Like, excuse me. I know I talk about a lot of conspiracy theories and stuff. Hell, we have an entire conspiracy theory show on Tuesdays, Tinfoil Haters. Make sure you subscribe and check it out. Operation Mockingbird is real, documented. Now, the conspiracy theory part is that it's still ongoing. It supposedly ended in, I believe, the 90s, but it obviously didn't. Because none of these operations ever end. And in fact, it's patently obvious that it's still going on. It's one of the few things that I don't know how it will end if we cover it on Tinfoil Haters. But no, you can look into Operation Mockingbird. It's not a conspiracy theory in the slightest. It is absolutely real and documented.
He went to prison for it. Not for torturing anyone, but just for talking about torture, where John would see 23 months inside of a prison.
Did any of the people who were torturing other...
And I see at the end you said, notice I didn't say anything about conspiracy theories. Fair enough. I should have read that entire thing. That one's on me.
people wind up in jail?
Not a single one. The torturers.
I'm sorry, it's so crazy.
It's nuts. It's nuts. The torturers didn't go to jail. The people who conceived of the torture, the people who funded the torture.
Look at that, bro. Homie hanging out with Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson. Everything he's saying must be true. A homie hanging out with Tucker Carlson. Man, what a fall off this dude had. What a fall off we had with him. The wrong way back about with a 5-banger. He reminds me of dudes that would get exposed for having fake powers by James Randi. Shout out, Vagabond. Thanks for the 5-banger, homie.
Appropriated taxpayer money for the torture. The people who implemented it, nobody went to prison but me.
He studied Middle Eastern studies, got a master's in legislative affairs, and as graduate professor, a CIA psychologist recruited him into the agency. And almost immediately, he found himself in the room where it all happens. He described being sent to the White House at 26 years old, the day after Iraq invaded Kuwait.
And we all sit down. The president tells us, sit down. We sit down and the president says, well, now what do we do? And everybody turns and looks at me. I said, Mr. President, as you know, Iraqi troops crossed the border at 2 o'clock this morning. And I said, actually, he's the co-founder of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. The vice president shouts, Jesus Christ. And then the president says, gentlemen, thank you. We'll take it from here. And I remember saying to myself, my friends would never believe in 1,000 years what I was doing right now. They wouldn't even believe me if I told them. That's what an analyst does. When I switched to operations,
correct, Chuck
again,
King.
The job was very straightforward. It was to recruit spies to steal secrets. But then if you're involved in counterterrorism operations, there are a lot of extras that you have to be trained in. So you go through the normal spy training. This is how you ingratiate yourself. It's something called the asset acquisition cycle.
2013 Obama administration made it legal to propagandize the U.S. public again. Operation Mockingbird is over because they don't have to hide it anymore. Here's the thing. First of all, yes, it was made illegal. You were correct. And I'm not really arguing with you so much as I'm giving additional context because you are technically correct, but there's more to it than that. So, yes, they made it legal to do it again. Obviously, as I'm sure, hopefully you guys all know, it never stopped, even though it was illegal. The CIA, the FBI, all these three-letter agencies, DOJ, they do illegal shit all the fucking time, and they just sweep it under the rug. So, while yes, it was technically made legal again under Obama, it's still the methodology of how they're doing it is what's changed. Instead of just hiding it, instead of lying, instead of just hiding it and lying, they obfuscate. They're doing like what we're seeing here with this so-called whistleblower. They change the optics to make it look like they fake transparency.
Spot, assess, develop, recruit.
After 9/11, they made him chief of counter-terrorist operations in Pakistan, and he was involved in some high-level raids. There's absolutely no doubt that he was in deep. At one of the sites, they found
far more than that ruins his legacy, Chud King.
Zubaydah, which is the guy he went to prison over building a bomb. He then tries to escape across the rooftops and was shot but kept alive. Then came the offer that would define the rest of John's life. CIA officials approached him and 13 other officers about being trained in enhanced interrogation techniques. On Carlos Watson's show, he explained how that panned out pretty much like the movie scene you can imagine it as.
Well, I was one of 14 people asked if I wanted to be trained in the use of what they called enhanced interrogation techniques. I was the only one of the 14 who said no. Besides being immoral and unethical, I thought it was illegal. It was illegal.
A colleague who happened to be a psychiatrist pulled him aside.
He said to me one day, buddy, you know they call you
Randall?
the human rights guy behind your back. And I said, yeah, I know. And he said, you know that's not a compliment, right? And I said, Steve, I'm right and they're wrong. And I'm comfortable with my position.
I don't believe that I don't believe it for a moment. Don't believe it in the slightest. Homeboy out here, oh, I'm the only altruistic one in the entire CIA. Bullshit. He'll say stuff like that because people want to believe in their inside fuzzy, warm, feely parts that there's some good guys in these three-letter agencies. Or at least that there were good guys in three-letter agencies. Nah.
His more senior mentors was far more blunt, allegedly telling him,
First of all, let's call a spade. He said, this is a torture program, and somebody's going to go to prison. Do you want to go to prison?
So you can imagine the stakes you're subjected to as a high-ranking CIA officer. It's simply not normal. You're in the thick of 9/11, the Iraq War, and now a notorious torture program. On the Joe Rogan Experience, John lays out what those techniques actually were.
They strip you naked.
They chain you to an eye bolt in the ceiling, so you can't lay or kneel or sit or anything. You can't get comfortable in any way. They chill the cell to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and then every hour.
Funny you say that, Phone Out Kaiser. I don't know if you were watching my Temple of Haters episode a few weeks ago where we covered the church committee, and that episode got taken down live. We were doing the show live, and YouTube shut us down for covering the church committee. I shit you not. It's the only episode of Temple of Haters that is not publicly available right now.
Or somebody comes in and throws a bucket of ice water on you. But we killed people with that technique. His heart actually stopped during a waterboarding session, and the doctor revived him just so he could be tortured more.
Then in December 2007, his career was about to detonate when Brian Ross at ABC News contacted him, where he discusses this moment with Joe Rogan.
So I called Brian Ross. I said, I'll give you your interview. And I decided that whatever he was going to ask me, and he never told me in advance what he was going to ask me, I was just going to tell the truth. And I said 3 things in that interview that changed the course of the rest of my life. I said that the CIA was torturing its prisoners. I said that torture was official U.S. government policy. It was not the result of any rogue officer. And I said that the policy had been personally approved by the president himself. And then, as you can imagine, within 24 hours, the CIA files what's called a crimes report against me with the FBI.
Now, here's the twist in John's story. He says Abu Zubaydah's waterboarding lasted about 35 seconds, after which Abu cooperated. But this turned out to be completely wrong. Declassified documents later revealed he was waterboarded at least 83 times in a single month.
Not
it was
enough.
much worse than John said. It was brutal, painful, horrific, not quick and easy. So, as a whistleblower from within the CIA, that's a bad look. As he says, waterboarding happened, but it wasn't that bad as far as waterboarding goes. His excuse was that the CIA fed him disinformation internally, which the CIA dismissed. So to some, it looked like he delivered a soft version of the torture program to the public before it fully leaked. And he barely mentions this at all. He said this on the Joe Rogan Experience.
That's the worst part of this. No, none of it was
That's true, Cat.
effective.
There are basically 2 outcomes. He was either an unwitting propagandist or a victim of a CIA internal deception.
No, the third option is that he is a willing propagandist, and that's the one that, yeah, CIA, like he says, because he says here unintentional, that he was propagandizing himself. No, he is a willing propagandist, absolutely.
But the whole feud was real and escalated when he took on John Brennan, the CIA director at the time.
Brennan immediately sends a memo to Eric Holder, the new attorney general, and says, talking about me, charge him with espionage. And Holder writes back, we got these memos in discovery when I went to trial. Holder writes back and says, my people don't think he committed espionage. And then Brennan writes back and says, charge him anyway and make him defend himself.
And when John talks about Brennan, he describes an apparatus of killing that functioned much like a weekly staff meeting.
John Brennan had the Tuesday morning kill list meetings because the tech got sophisticated enough that you could just write up a list of people that you want to kill that week. And you dish out the assignments. The teams go out, they kill everybody that's on the list, and then they meet next Tuesday and get that kill list.
On the diary of a CEO, he put the human cost on this whole experience, which obviously tore him and his family apart.
So they arrested me, charged me with 5 felonies, including 3 counts of espionage. Espionage can be a death penalty case. Charged me with espionage. They waited until I went bankrupt 10 months later with $2 million in legal fees. And then they dropped the espionage charges.
So that's why he went to prison, and he said that it was terrible for him.
You think you can step back into your life again, and you can't. Your life is never going to be the same.
Because?
Because you're not the same. Everybody comes out of prison with PTSD. Everybody.
It's a pretty dramatic whistleblower arc and one that gives him a lot of credit, despite one major blip in his credibility, which may be explainable if the agency duped him. And now he's gone viral on TikTok for his podcast appearances, which is either a beautiful irony or exactly the kind of thing that should make you pay very close attention. On the
Bingo, bango, bongo. Dude gone through all this shit and they didn't bring the band hammer down? They didn't axe him? Nah, son. If this dude was actually the threat that he's claiming to be, some altruistic whistleblower ready to take down the CIA single-handedly, He already talked about some kill lists. Why wouldn't he be on it? Dude would be beneath snakes in a hat and a heartbeat. Nah, he is still on government payroll. This is all controlled drip fed information. These podcast appearances are, again, they're just the new arm of Operation Mockingbird. This is some evil work, son.
Over CEO Stephen Bartlett asked him directly whether the CIA has a podcasting strategy. Now, you can probably imagine what the response might be here. I mean, the CIA's been influencing the media since Operation Mockingbird all the way back in the 50s. Most shocking was when the New York
Am I fucking good or am I fucking good?
Times published a massive investigation that revealed the Pentagon had recruited over 75 retired military officers to appear on every major TV network, all as quote-unquote independent military analysts. Internal Pentagon documents called them message force multipliers. They were given classified briefings, talking points, and free trips to Iraq. Many of them worked simultaneously for military contractors who profited from the wars they endorsed on air. That program ran from 2002 to 2008 across Fox, CNN, NBC, CBS, and ABC. It was called Psyops on Steroids by one of its own participants, and when it was exposed, not a single network covered this. In fact, there was a near total media blackout on a story about the media. So John naturally couldn't deny this question.
Do you think the CIA have a strategy for podcasters and for podcasting?
I think yes, now they do. It took them a little while to get current, but just like they over time developed a strategy with Hollywood, sure, they're developing a strategy with podcasters. You know, it was only in the last 10 years that the CIA opened a branch within the Office of Public Affairs.
And just like that, he's brainwashing you, psyoping you, and believing, look, I'm on this podcast, and I'm telling you about all the evil shit the government does when they send people to do these podcasts. But since I'm telling you about it, you know you can trust me. Nah, dude. That is some sleight of hand. That is, in fact, it should be very obvious sleight of hand.
Whose job it is solely to liaise with Hollywood studios.
Then he was asked about Andrew Bustamante, another ex-CIA officer who's...
So many people have fallen for this dude. Hook, line, sinker. He goes on Flagrant Podcasts, right, with Andrew Schultz, and he says all this crazy, evil shit that he was forced to participate in or the government did, and people are like, oh, well, because he looks kind of like Bob Marley, we can trust him. Nah. Demon, bro.
Become a media phenomenon, and gave another motive.
Andrew Bustamante has really made a handsome living out of selling his experience. Yeah. And he's on every podcast.
Yeah.
And that's true. Andrew is...
Absolutely, Zax. Absolutely.
Everywhere. But it's a bit of a slip if John thinks people aren't going to eventually file him into the same category. So we asked John to discuss why the CIA is clearly targeting the podcast circuit. And surprisingly, he gave an honest response that is part of the agency's media strategy and a lucrative side hustle for retired spies. He said he's often asked to comment on Fox News and admits that podcasting has become a career outlet, where personal branding and delivery matter just as much in any other content creation niche.
Bingo, bango, bongo.
I think you are correct in your assumption that it's really about self-branding. We're in a new media world, a new media landscape, where it's all about podcasting. And there's significant money at stake here through advertising. And so there are a lot of CIA people. I'm thinking of, Andrew Bustamante being probably the leading one who's out there making money on his CIA career, Mike Baker, and there are others, myself.
Mike Baker's an interesting one, man, because I've been following Mike Baker for years because of all of his multiple appearances on the Joe Rogan Experience, and there's always been something off with that dude. And to be fair, I mean, I like him on Joe Rogan because he's a good speaker, and that's the trick, man. They put him on Joe Rogan. Whether Joe Rogan knows or not is kind of irrelevant, but he goes on, he does all these explains these ex-op stories. He tries to sort of, if you watch him, he hand waves a lot of stuff. He's like, yeah, this happened, but I mean, it's really not like that. And he's super calm and casual about it. Mike Baker, a worrisome dude.
Included. And, sometimes it leads to something else. I'm on Fox News all the time. I used to be on CNN a lot, MSNBC occasionally, no more. It's almost strictly Fox. But that's kind of the goal of all of these guys. It's all about self-branding.
Bustamante is the first name to pop into John's head
Hey, welcome back,
he's
Seb.
been monetizing his ex-CIA role for decades. He built something called Everyday Spy, the first ever digital spy training platform where he teaches civilians the CIA's recruitment framework.
He teaches you the recruitment framework that they want you to believe that they have so you can feel informed. But again, obviously, this is just part of the additional propaganda.
On his first Diary of a CEO appearance, he described what the CIA looks for in its recruits.
Specifically, when CIA recruits field operators, it's fairly transparent. They tell you that you were recruited because you are a little f***ed up. They tell you that you were recruited because of a certain psychological profile that makes it so that you pragmatically view things like secrets and lies.
Yeah. So what this dude is explaining right now is they do everything that the first episode of the first season of Burn Notice told you they do.
He also admitted something that would be alarming coming from anyone else, but gets packaged as aspirational self-awareness that serves your career.
There is a tie between childhood trauma and high performance. It's a well-known, it's a documented connection, but CIA has learned, as has MI6 and Mossad and all the other intelligence services of the world, they've learned that when you train someone who has just the right amount of childhood trauma high performance, when you get your hands on them at the right time in the right period of their life, they can be trained to become extremely loyal, highly productive field operators.
And again, these are all net negatives, and this is where the propaganda machine comes in, because he is spinning this evil act in a positive light. Like, you can look at it either way. You can be like, oh my god, that's horrible. But there's some intrigue there. There's some mystery there. And he's wearing his Everyday Spy shirt. He's got the branding. He's basically making the call out for anybody who might be young and have these aspirations and have that same level of childhood trauma and whatnot. This is basically recruitment. He's going on live podcasts. He's being, again, I'm the whistleblower guy. I'm the nice guy. I'm here to tell you about all these deep, dark secrets. But this, in and of itself, is recruitment tools.
John agrees on this point and has said the same thing multiple times, that the CIA actively looks for broken, sociopathic yet intelligent people who are comfortable with the world you're absorbed into.
The CIA actively seeks to hire people who have sociopathic tendencies. People, not sociopaths. Sociopaths have no conscience. People with sociopathic tendencies do have a conscience. They do react in a polygraph exam. But because we believe we're the good guys, we're happy to work in legal, moral, and ethical gray areas.
So do you have sociopathic tendencies?
Absolutely.
And what are your sociopathic tendencies?
My sociopathic tendency was to operate in legal, moral, and ethical gray areas.
Andrew's credentials are generally...
Again, these are things that, let's be real, a lot of folk can do. In fact, a lot of folk do on the daily. That's not actually anything, that's not some big revelation.
Viewed as overblown, and when he went head-to-head with John in a debate, you could pretty much see who was pulling the line and who had something more authentic on the table.
You know, in 1945, 1946, we executed Japanese soldiers who had waterboarded
Bingo, bango, bongo, Ronan, exactly.
American POWs. On January the 11th, 1968, the Washington Post ran a front-page photograph of an American soldier waterboarding a North Vietnamese prisoner. That soldier was arrested.
So Chud King, Hassan Piker is likely part of a psyop. I agree, but I don't think he is aware of it. Hassan Piker is a useful idiot. He is a tool, and he is not aware of the psyop that he is perpetuating. He's not the one perpetuating it. You know, it's being perpetuated by those above him, but he's not aware that he is the tool for it. Get out of here, Steam.
Convicted of torture and sent to prison for 20 years. All of a sudden, in 2002, torture is legal because John Yoo and Jay Bybee say it is. But the law never changed.
People commented stuff like this. This interview shows exactly what went wrong in the last 20 years.
No, it doesn't. This interview shows you what they want you to see, what they want to believe. Like, oh, this is what... No, this isn't what went wrong. This is what was always happening. And now they go to fool you like, here's some nuggets of truth. This isn't truth. Again, this is more obfuscation so that you're looking at this. Again, classic magician sleight of hand. You look here so that you don't see what's going on here. This is not whistleblowing.
We used to have a country run by Johns, and now we have a country run by Bustamentes. And quote, so what we have here is a guy willing to go to jail for his beliefs and a guy willing to change the rules to stay out of jail. Andrew, for his part, described the CIA's internal culture with the kind of delusionment that sounds like a confession but functions more like a sales pitch.
You will start to believe that you are not good enough if you stay inside, because you'll end up being gaslit by the system.
The culture convinces you that you can't do anything else.
Yeah.
Your skills are so unique, your training is so specific, you can't do anything else.
Yeah.
And that's just simply not true.
That's Andrew describing the CIA as a psychologically abusive institution, but his entire brand is built on selling the skills that the institution produces. So maybe it's just personal opportunism, making a career after you leave the agency. There's actually a whole cottage.
But no. And this is what, it's not making a career after you leave the agency. He is still with the agency. Whether he's officially on payroll or not is irrelevant. He is still doing the bidding of the CIA, and he is probably aware of it, and I would not be surprised in the slightest if he was being, slipped some money to do so, if he actually still was, and whether it's on the books or not, dude's still got connections. This is just more propaganda from these ex-CIA agents. There's no reason. Again, we've seen the CIA kill its own people, kill American citizens. There's documented fact of this happening. If these dudes were an actual risk to the CIA, they wouldn't be out here making rounds on podcasts. They would, as long as I go on all these shows and I'm super public, that there's no target on my back. They can't kill me. People don't question anything, right? Again, when they were talking about the LSD story, the LSD in California story with the hookers, dude that ran that project fell out a window. Dude that ran the project fell. They can disappear any motherfucker they want. So dudes out here making their rounds are obviously still doing it on CIA payroll. Savvy Love with a 20 banger. Bustamante said the CIA approved his book and classes. So yes, bingo, bango, bongo, exactly. Not only they approve it, they probably help fucking write it. Absolutely. Legend. This is for you. You know, what one do I want to give? Let's see. You know what? I'll give you this one. Shout out. This is for you, Savvy. Thank you.
I'm on HIV medication and I want Leon to rail me.
Appreciate this one, banger. Absolute legend.
Industry surrounding the CIA. Andrew even wrote a book called Everyday Espionage, Winning the Workplace, subtitled Read the Room, Build Quiet Power, and Negotiate with Confidence, and Earn the Raise You Deserve. He's selling you the asset recruitment cycle repackaged as a career hack. CIA tactics sold as LinkedIn content. There are hundreds of books, TV shows, and courses tied to so-called top secret tactics. And if all this raises some skepticism, you haven't even seen Mike Baker yet. Baker has appeared on Joe Rogan at least 21 times. 21.
Mike Baker was the testing ground for this. He's the first, real big CIA insider guy that started making these podcast rounds. And while it started with Joe Rogan, he has obviously gone on to do a lot of bigger, better things. He gets invited to all these events. Mike Baker was the prototype for what we're seeing now.
His Twitter handle is MBCompanyman. His website is mbcompanyman.com. The company man is slang for a CIA officer. He passed off accusations of CIA interference in overseas politics.
Of course that's what we're doing, right? Of course we're trying to influence hearts and minds. Of course we're infiltrating organizations to try to influence the direction of the government.
Or this classic, where he confesses to stealing state secrets like it's too obvious to even bother thinking about.
It's like John Brennan, who was a director at the agency. He talked about the business of the CIA and says, we don't steal secrets. God damn it, of course we steal secrets. That's the point of the exercise, right?
It's called a limited hangout. You admit to something controversial, but you frame it as so obvious that the admission itself seems facile and normal. And
Bingo.
on Epstein, even Baker followed what is now the CIA's official line.
You think this freak show of Epstein wasn't it didn't have hidden cameras or wasn't taped and shit? Or what?
100%.
I mean, come on.
100%. Yeah. But Mossad, whoever it is that was involved in this intelligence gathering, I mean, I'm just guessing.
Right,
I have no idea. Yeah. But there's fucking pinhole cameras all over that house.
And the list of former intelligence operatives appearing across non-legacy media is practically endless beyond those we've talked about. Brian Dean Wright, another former CIA officer who worked at Baker's company Diligence, running a daily podcast literally called The President.
You want to know another dead giveaway? Another dead giveaway. Baker does this Yeah, I'm sure all these guys do this. Baker's the only one I've heard talk about it. All of them denounced Snowden. Every single one of them denounced Snowden. When you got an actual whistleblower out there like Snowden who had to leave the country, who had to flee for his life, who now lives in Russia but refuses to give up his American citizenship because he does love this country and because on the off chance maybe he'll come the fuck back. Like, when you were fleeing to enemy territory, when Vladimir Putin, the dude who didn't fall in with Epstein, is the one effectively taking care of you. Yeah, when you got all these dudes in the opposition to him, you tell me which is more likely the actual fucking whistleblower.
Daily brief, using the name of the CIA document given to the president every day. Then there's Mark, 26 years in CIA operations, co-hosting The Crisis Room, a show openly marketed as the journalist, the politician, and the spy. He recently said Havana Syndrome was a massive CIA cover-up. And you can see the contrast with the legacy media. You generally don't see these people doing long, unfiltered sit-downs on CNN or the BBC. They turn up for uninterrupted conversation with minimal pushback. You can also see how they pop up when there's something trending to discuss, an opportunity to step up and give answers. When UFOs become a serious congressional topic and everyone was fascinated in possible cover-ups, the intelligence community again flooded the podcast circuit.
When the I was gonna say David Grush. All right, so when David Grush popped up, look, I'm all for UFO disclosure. Ain't never gonna fucking happen, but I'm all for it. Y'all know how I feel about the UFO stuff. Talked about in tinfoil haters, God knows how many times. David Grush is not a whistleblower. All right, David Grush, he is either a participant in a psyop, or if it's not a psyop, he's at the very least, he is a government mouthpiece for what little bits may or may not be true. Yeah, David Grush, again, I said this earlier, I'm going to repeat it. Anytime you hear somebody that's supposedly exposing information say something akin to, well, I can't say this, but I can tell you this, they're not blowing a fucking whistle. All right, they ain't blowing a fucking whistle. They are drip-feeding controlled information that these organizations have deemed are allowed the public to know. Now, whether it be because they want to just drip feed you information so that you feel satisfied enough to have your questions answered and you don't take the questions further, or whether, again, it's the sleight of hand so you don't focus on something else, either way, yeah, David Grush is just part of this exact same propagandistic messaging.
David Grush testified under oath about crash retrieval programs and non-human biology.
The approved message, exactly, Sevi.
He then popped up on Joe Rogan. Luis Elizondo claimed the government possesses exotic material not made by humans, while the Pentagon denied he ever ran the program he says he led. He also popped up on Joe Rogan. People have a word for the more obvious CIA voices mixing in with the public discourse. They call them glowies. The term comes from Terry Davis, a schizophrenic computer programmer who created an entire operating system he claimed was dictated to him by God. In a 2017 YouTube video, he said CIA agents glow in the dark.
CIA glow in the dark. You can see them if you're driving. You just run them over. That's what you do.
Adapted as the go-to slang for any federal agent or intelligence officer.
Based! You heard it here first, folks. You driving down the road, it's 2 a.m., you see a dude that might be just like sparkling a little bit. It's one of two things. It's either a vampire from Twilight or it's a CIA op. Either way, you hit that gas, son.
Who's obviously present in public spaces. The joke is that these people are too visible to be genuinely covert, but the joke only works if you assume the visibility is accidental. But what if it's not? What if it's just part of the same game? On Carlos Watson, when asked if he's a good liar, John said,
"Are you a good liar?"
I think I am a good liar, yeah.
Why?
Why am I a good liar? Because deep down, I believe we're the good guys. And lying in service of my country was something that I became good at.
Yeah, except for you're not lying in service of your country, and we all know that's the fucking lie. Like, nobody believes that. Nobody on God's green earth believes that you're lying in service of the country. You're lying in service of a shadowy cabal regime that wants to or already does control the world.
You know, you at the CIA, you're a trained liar. And this is why the divorce rate's so high. It's the highest divorce rate of any entity in the U.S. government. It's upwards of 80%.
After prison, nobody would hire him. He was earning about $400 a week. The Russian state media outlet Sputnik approached him. He turned them down, and then 8 months later, with 5 children and no pension, he said yes.
Why are you working with Russian state media?
Oh, because I've got...
Because at this point, Russian state media is more honest than our own goddamn state media.
5 kids, and nobody's beating a path to my door to give me work. the only people who offered me a job were the Russians.
Which circles back to the question this whole video is really asking, because there's a fact about every single person we've discussed so far. John, Andrew, Mike, and every former CIA officer who's ever appeared on a podcast, written a book, or posted a tweet about their time at the agency. They all signed a lifetime secrecy agreement, and they all must submit everything they plan to say publicly to the CIA's pre-publication classification review board.
I've told you guys about this before. So my grandpa was a pretty high up military dude. Old man was a pretty big military dude. Like, he told me this, I must have been 13, 14 years old when I was asking about it. Because he offhandedly, I think we were watching Independence Day. And Area 51, obviously, is a big part of the movie Independence Day. And he was like, you know that Area 51 is real, right? And, being like 13 years old or whatever, I was like, I mean, I assumed, yeah, but, I don't know what it is. Is there really aliens there? He's like, no, there's no aliens there. No, but I've been there. And I was like, no shit. And I asked him more. He's like, oh, I can't tell you anymore. I was like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, no, I signed paperwork this, even, doesn't matter if you're my grandson, doesn't matter if word never gets out. They could arrest me and kill me for telling you anymore. But just know I've been there. Dude, my old man be giving me blue balls at 13 years old. Fuck that guy.
Way before this ever reaches the public. Books, speeches, blog posts, podcast talking points, op-eds, even tattoos. The regulation says, quote, any form or means of communication, including oral or electronic, which mean podcasts are not a free pass. The obligation is also lifelong. As of 2015, the CIA was reviewing 184,000 pages of declarations per year. John told us this is 100%.
What do you mean clipped? What I say that was a clip in there? Fuck you, War Wizard.
100% true, and that since many of his podcast talking points already appear in his books, they've already been vetted. But he also admits that if there was anything new, he would then have to go to the CIA to get it signed off.
What's the motivation of a lot of CIA officers, former CIA officers, going on podcasts? Yes, you are right that we are all subject to pre-publication review. I'm lucky in that I've written 8 books, 9 books, the 9th one's at the publishers now. And so I've told all these stories 1,000 million times. They've all gone through pre-publication review. So I can answer the questions and I can tell the stories. Now, if there's something new that I want to tell, and I've been out of the agency for 22 years now, so there's nothing new, I would have to, of course, resubmit to pre-publication review and have it cleared.
That means every podcast.
That is exactly what my old man said, Ronan the Crusader. Experimental aircraft, advanced aircraft, stuff like that.
Quote, every book, every viral clip from every person in this video was read and approved by the CIA before you ever heard it. That also means that, by deduction, the theory that Epstein was an intelligence asset is either true and the CIA signed off on it, or it's false and the CIA is comfortable letting the public think otherwise.
So my theory about this, and I've talked about this in plenty of other episodes when talking about the Epstein stuff, I do believe it's true. But there's obviously more to it. Like the information about Epstein being a, not an intelligence guy, but basically a go-to for intelligence amongst all these various world governments. There's way more to it than that. But that drip-fed information is enough to satisfy most of the public.
And both scenarios are equally interesting. The world's most powerful intelligence agency is inherently complacent about everything its officers and ex-officers are revealing. But complacency does not make the revelations truthful by default. You could permit misdirection or false information the same as the truth. All this vetting process is about,
and that is the PSYOP playbook. If you haven't seen, go back and watch our Tinfoil episode, Tinfoil Haters episode where we cover PSYOPs. The most successful PSYOPs are the ones that, shout out, thanks for the sub, Shells. The most successful PSYOPs are the ones that are 70% true. If you can get about 70% truth in that PSYOP, the 30% that is bullshit, people are still going to buy into it hook, line, and sinker. And this has been happening since at least the 20s.
Is protecting classified information. That means every podcast quote, every book, every viral clip from every person in this video was read and approved by the CIA before you ever heard it. So at the top, you've got the official PR layer. The CIA launched its own podcast, The Langley Files, in 2022. Director Burns said the purpose was to, quote, demystify a little bit of what we do. Below that, you've got friendly formers. Mike Baker, Andrew, who normalize CIA activity, run limited hangouts, make intelligence work sound like a fascinating career rather than an instrument of state power that has overthrown governments, tortured prisoners, and surveilled its own citizens. Then you've got others who might be entirely sincere but create confusion and provide cover. And then there are those in a more genuine liminal space who bring viral moments and charisma to...
While I agree with a lot of what this video is saying, the idea that they're promoting Homeboy here as the more genuine liminal space, nah. If anything, he might be the most evil of all of them, because he is the one who was going the hardest in trying to acknowledge, like, oh, look, I'm the altruistic guy, I'm the good guy, I'm the whistleblower, I've had it oh so hard. Like, this is I would, at least by my own conspiratorial-minded brain, this is a deep cover espionage act, bro. This is vile shit.
Some of the darkest, most awful crimes humans might be involved in and make them sound kind of expected. It's all very validating. A man with a classified career confirms what you've been called a conspiracy theorist for believing, and it just feels like winning. It creates a strange sense of trust that the public is being listened to. Maybe the normalization is the operation. When millions of people watch a man describe a
he's close. It's not that the normalization is the operation. It's that what we believe is normal is the operation. So it's not that they're normalizing us, acknowledging the heinous shit the CIA, FBI, all these three other agencies do. It's that if we think that this is all they do.
Tuesday morning kill list with the same energy as an anecdote about your weekend, it has a profound impact. The CIA spent decades terrified of public scrutiny. Now it has an ecosystem where former officers get millions of views describing exactly how the machine works, and the audience responds not with outrage but with a like button. You can't say exactly what it is, but it isn't transparency. There's an old intelligence principle: the best way to hide a secret is to surround it with so much noise that no one can pick it out. Every empire in history controlled its narrative. Most of them did it by restricting information. This one might be the first to do it by flooding the zone with so much of it that nobody can tell what matters anymore, and every single word was pre-approved from the outset.
Excellent video. Excellent video. Yeah, I disagree with some of the conclusions they came to, but by and large, that was a good video. Drop it in the chat for you guys. Yeah, I mean, just pay more attention to this sort of stuff. This is why anytime Mike Baker goes on Joe Rogan, anytime this guy got a clip go viral, anytime Homeboy talks shit on Hassan Piker and makes you think, oh, he must be one of the good guys. This ex-CIA whistleblower out here talking shit on the commie bastard Hassan Piker must be one of the good ones. Nah, son. Just more of the playbook. More of the playbook, more of the obfuscation, more of the psyop. But we've been doing some deep, dark, and heavy shit for the last, let's see, how long have we been live? Hour and a half? We've been going pretty heavy for the last hour and a half. I think it's time to have some fun. Let's roast some liberal cucks. Destiny blocked Metatron. Yo, what up, bitch? I can only imagine how funny this is going to be. Destiny might be the biggest loser in this sort of podcast debate bro space. I don't know who I hate more, Destiny or Hassan. Like, when it comes to their political beliefs, it's no question it's Hassan. Hassan absolutely just, like, he styles all over Destiny's balls with how much more I can't stand that bitch. But Destiny, man, there is something about that dude. There's something about that, man. Like, remember how they were saying in that previous video? A motherfucking Muslim dude got waterboarded 83 times in 30 days. Yo, that's the bare minimum of what a boy would do to Destiny. Let's go.
Fantastic news, like we're talking. This is great news. And the great news for today is that the little clown, Destiny, blocked me on X.
Okay, Metatron, we got to work on your English.
So Metatron, thanks to you guys in chat, about like 2 years, I'd never heard of Metatron. And about 2 years ago when I started doing these reaction streams, and you guys were requesting stuff, this is back when Metatron was still doing just the history stuff. And like every week you guys request Metatron videos. I got to really fucking love his content. His post Charlie Kirk heel turn is delicious, son. Is delicious. More fucking radicals. That's our job, baby. That's our job. Radicalize each and every motherfucker. With every single video Metatron posts ever since what happened to Charlie Kirk, dude's gotten more and more radical, and you love to fucking see it.
English vocabulary. Even though I know you speak like 8,000 languages or whatever, right? But we got to work on your vocabulary. He's not a little clown. Okay, he's a jawed Coomer gremlin. Get it right. Jawed Coomer gremlin. His jaw is unhinged and seesaws back and forth due to the massive amount of an Adderall that he's taken in his life. Or at least that's my working theory. It's like an old up Godzilla movie, you know, where they're like, oh, look, it's Godzilla. He's coming to kill us all. And the mouth keeps going because they just like didn't know how to dub it correctly. So like, look, it's a Coomer gremlin. Watch out, everybody. Look out. Meth-jawed Coomer gremlin, not little clown Metatron. Can't do little clown.
To be fair, you could do both. He could be a meth-jawed Coomer gremlin little clown. No matter what name you give to Destiny, though, you're never gonna top the names for Hassan Piker. You're never gonna top Hamas, Osama bin Laden, Epstein, Diddy, Dog, Shocker, Fucker, Piker. Like that's Hassan takes the dub there. He got the better insults.
What a start. Ladies and gentlemen, here we have it. Here you have it, because I was gonna quote him in one of his nonsense posts, but no, I'm like, why can I not do it? Why isn't it clickable? Oh, I wonder why. Gee, what happened? Yeah, so I think that's a badge of honor. Let's have a look at how people are reacting to it. I'm gonna check out the comments, because this is hilarious. So,
like, how much of a bitch does Destiny have to be to block? Because even though Metatron is like, I joke like, oh, he's getting radicalized. He is probably still one of the most easy to talk to dudes, like approachable, very calm. Because like Destiny trying to talk to Andrew Wilson's hilarious. Because Andrew Wilson just dog walks the dude. I've never seen, like, Destiny is not a very good debater as is. He's got a very boring strategy, which is bulldoze your way through conversation, saying a bunch of shit that isn't true, but he throws in so many caveats and so many just pieces that need to necessarily link together without having you stop to question each individual piece. It's a very loser strategy when it comes to debate. And even so, Andrew Wilson dog walks him every fucking time. Metatron, on the other hand, he's just a nice fucking dude calling out retarded shit. The idea that Destiny can't even handle Metatron is so fucking bitch made. I love it, dude. I love it.
Let me see. How are people reacting to it? Let's go to recent. Let's see. We've got he's sensitive. You guys crack me up. He's sensitive. That is not nice to clowns. Hey.
Okay, that.
Which one, love it? Destiny and Andrew Wilson have debated multiple times. Which one?
That is funny. The little comment here says he's sensitive. But because Metatron has an accent, it's even funnier, actually, when he says it. But he's sensitive. Destiny's he's very sensitive.
Next, Lord Brian. Destiny is one of those dudes you know in school or university who had a little bit of knowledge but thought they were bloody Einstein, pretty much. People like that are dangerously stupid.
No, so I disagree with Lord Brian here. People like this aren't dangerously stupid. It's worse than that. They're midwits. Because a stupid person, like, you got two sides of the aisle. You got the really smart motherfuckers, and you got the stupid people. And you can understand both. Like, you can understand a really intelligent individual because they make a lot of great points. They're well articulated. You can see the rationale in their logic. And you got really dumb people, and they're easy to understand as well because you know they're dumb. So you just like take what they're saying and you can elevate it yourself, or you can dumb yourself down to engage in the conversation. That's the type of person I am, right? I'm a fucking moron. But, you know, at least I know I'm a fucking moron, and that's why we was able to connect so well with the whole auditory in the chat and shit. But then you got a midwit like Destiny, who, again, will, pretend to be smart. And another good example of a midwit is Ian Crossland. Now, I love Ian Crossland, to be fair. Ian Crossland, hippy dippy dude from Timcast, seems like a nice guy. I like Ian Crossland. But he's a midwit. Says a lot of esoteric, frilly, flowery shit that sounds good until you think about it and you're like, bro, the fuck that even mean? Like,
I don't know why you're atting him since.
God, he says, this guy's comment says Destiny's birth certificate is basically an apology letter from the Trojan condom factory.
That's gnarly.
Wrote that.
Justin, who's?
I never know if I want to high five Ian or slap him in the face. For real though, and like, again, I like Ian. So I don't like Tim Pool. I watch the show occasionally because I do like to see the news and see the points of views, but I don't like Tim Pool. I like Ian. I think Ian's fucking retarded, but I like him. You know what I mean?
Steen, maybe Destiny is such a beta male, can't take scrutiny, so he blocks people. Yeah, that's it. Next. Kath Ghosts, mean, who cares, he's just pitiable. Is that a word, guys? Pitiable. Pitiable.
It is now.
Adam Krigler. Yeah, I like Adam Krigler. I do. I don't know near as much about Adam because by the time I started watching the show, Adam had already left. But he and I have streamed together once. He was a nice guy. We follow each other on X. I need to get him on the show just to talk to him. But yeah, I like what I've seen of Adam Krigler in a post Timcast world.
Phimosis cock hates scrutiny. Goodness gracious, this guy. Look at that. This guy is on something. 100% is on something. Even the speed at which he speaks, the way he moves, shakes. There's no way.
Okay. Listen. Okay. Listen. The fact that you think that just because I have a Tyler John and it sways back and forth like this, and that I rapidly talk, and I mean super fast when it is that we're debating, because I can't understand how anybody could possibly believe the things that they're believing when they're saying the things that they're saying, and it's mind-boggling to me. My jaw sways back and forth like this. I'm
gonna be real. This is a banger impression. Not only is he getting the mannerisms proper, because here's the trick to doing a good impression. And I can say this as somebody that's not good impressions, but love seeing them done in a proper light. Dana Carvey, shout out, greatest comedian ever. Not the mannerisms matter just as much as what you're saying, because like what you're saying when you do an impression has to be an absurd version of what they do. But you got to get the mannerisms correct so you could buy into whether the idea the real person would say it. Spot on.
Triangle in my forehead. Nobody really understands what the f is going on. But when I rapidly fire out everything, and I really sound exasperated right at the end of it with the dryness of the jaw, it's the chill stream.
Getting a troll obsessed with attention to rage quit is quite impressive, to be honest. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. It's a skill I have, you know. Did she get you? Yes. Dirty F. Who's that? Liana Rupert. I don't know who that is, but their hairstyle. You must have touched a nerve. I've zinged him relentlessly and never been blocked. I eventually blocked him to cleanse my timeline.
Man, I can't stand people that do that. Block people you disagree with or to cleanse it. Nah. You need to... Don't block dumb motherfuckers on X, all right? You don't block dumb motherfuckers on X. I know it sounds counterintuitive. You're like, oh, I just want like a nice, peaceful experience. Fuck that nice, peaceful experience. You keep these bitches around. There's a reason I follow Candace goddamn Owens, right? There's a reason I follow Destiny. Because I want to see that mental retardation on full display. We need to know how these motherfuckers, well, I was going to say think, but attempt to think. Need to broadcast it to the world. Don't block dumb motherfuckers on X and move on. You keep that shit public. You'll follow it. You'll watch it. Because it's beautiful. It is a beautiful abortion on a train wreck.
Yeah, I wonder what it is. Hey, we've got Rachel Wilson herself. Andrew Wilson's wife. She says, imagine blocking Metatron. I guess if you want your ex feed to be like 50% less cool, but I wouldn't do it. I really appreciate that. As I said, very much appreciated. Thank you very much, Rachel. Very cool. you think you can handle it, then one day you can't. Yeah, he certainly couldn't handle the truth, could he? Do you remember when in one of the in the reaction video that he made, because I made a video about him, he reacted to it, and then I demolished him on a following react video that he never even touched because of course my initial reaction video to him.
This is true, dude. Metatron did the equivalent of MGK and Eminem. Like, Destiny comes out like MGK does his his whole thing, or I guess Destiny comes out like MGK, right? Because this would make Metatron Eminem. Point is, Metatron gets the response in. Destiny doesn't touch it. Just like how MGK was basically beat so fucking bad he was forced to switch genres. Metatron just Marshall Matters Destiny.
I didn't lay out all of my strongest arguments in case he would react. So he did react to that, and he was like, and then he called me, oh, let's see what truth seeker.
Thank you, truth sayer.
So he used that.
Imagine these guys who just like they're on the internet and they that's all they do. They focus on like video games and stuff. They don't know anything. They don't know anything about politics at all. They don't know anything. And these are the people that are going to come in and they're ruining left-wing discourse.
And honestly, while I do think that Andrew Wilson is he is a fantastic debater, one of the best in the game right now, when it comes to political knowledge, I think Metatron would school him. I don't necessarily know if Metatron would win a debate if they ever debated, but in terms of just raw political knowledge, who would teach the other more, I think Metatron would school Andrew Wilson. And I love Andrew Wilson, but like Metatron is just like, because of his history background, because of his like centuries worth of political knowledge and being able to apply that just across the board. Yeah, I think it would be an awesome conversation. If these two dudes ever do like a one-on-one dialogue or whatnot, we would stream that live like it was a fucking event, bro.
Together, they're crazy, and they're always coming out, and they're crazy. They're crazy. You have to understand that's exactly what this guy Metatron is. He's the exact same way. No argument. Not a single argument. Nothing.
Thank you, truth sayer.
But anyways, so then I reacted to it, and
you listen to Andrew. I would also listen to Andrew Wilson read a phone book, but that's just because I would want to know like how many fucks he puts in there. It's like, oh, Dave fucking Smith, Joe fucking Rogan, like.
Objectively demolished him. He never touched it with a glove. Nothing. And but I thought it was.
You in Destiny's defense, if he did touch anything in your vicinity, you would want him to be wearing a glove.
It's funny that he used the truth seeker or truth speaker, whatever the heck he chose,
truth sayer,
as an insult.
Metatron may not know this, and I need to express to him why he may not be able to relate to the Coomer Gremlin. You see, Metatron, you strike me as the kind of guy that doesn't like it when other men your wife. I'm guessing that you're probably not a fan of that. And I know what you're thinking, like, whoa, where did that come from, Wilson? Where did that come from? Well, look, I'm just saying, you strike me as the kind of guy who doesn't want to be sharing Mrs. Metatron. That may be why you're having trouble relating here. You know, Destiny could be in front of like the most heinous.
How Destiny pulled so much covert feminist, fake conservative pussy is beyond me. Like, I'm not gay, but I can put myself in the headspace of someone that was. So let's put myself in you know, the headspace of Destiny or of a woman or whatnot, and like. How are all these women, like, wasn't it Lauren Southern? Wasn't Lauren Southern the one that was riding his dick? Literally, by the way. What does this dude got going on? It can't be fucking money, because they got their own money. What is it with all these conservative broads fucking going after that Destiny dick? Especially after sucking off Nick Fuentes. Your broads be weird, dude. It's not big dick energy, though. It's not BD. Destiny doesn't have big dick energy. He has limp pee aura. He is gay. He's gay. He sucked Nick Fuentes' dick. He is gay. Or he's both or whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, I don't care if you call yourself bi. If you enjoy fucking a dude, you're gay. But I don't get it.
Right winger on planet Earth and be like, you took us to war. You cost us 10,000 American lives. You put us $80 million in the...
No, Lauren Southern said, I'm in love with your mind. Didn't he snub her afterwards? Didn't he, like, hit it and quit it with Lauren Southern? I could be I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was like she wanted to actually date him and shit. And he was like, nah, I'm just here to wreck conservative pussy and bounce. Bro, what a retard. I meant Lauren Southern, but really both.
In hole, the other guy.
Yeah, he left her, right.
I could just be like, oh yeah, you let other men your chick. That's the end of that. The guy still wins.
What up, jackass?
You sent 15,000 soldiers to their death. The other guy's like,
Lost Monster Man with a 2-banger. There are very rare conservative women, most libs. This is true. The vast majority, not all, I will say there's some real ones out there, but the vast majority of conservative women are covert feminists. 100%. This is accurate. Shout out, Monster Man. Thank you for the 2-banger.
yeah, well, you let other guys your wife. That's it. The other guy wins. There's like, how do you beat that? It's not even possible to beat it.
Well done, thank you. He's such a weak dude. I agree. People like Destiny are the kind you need to verbally eviscerate. He's a fool and his opinions are moronic. I would agree with that. It's because weak minds can handle diversity of thought. Yeah. Why does that...
Don't matter if it's first or second wave, though. Covert feminist.
not surprise me? Agreed. Don't insult clowns like that, man. I guess people are really taking it. When it comes to clowns, a badge of honor. I 100% agree. He's about the thin skin as they grow him around here. Very nice. Of course he would. He's a coward soy boy. We call that a good riddance. I would agree with you, sir. LW. And then this, yeah, it's a nice animation right there. Splendid. That could be me. He's a scumbag. Yeah, I would say
Yeah,
that.
Metatron's just taking the time to go through all the comments and shout out all the people who just like put a funny meme up.
Appropriately, correctly defines him. So, fantastic stuff.
This was here. Okay, I know what happened. I'm confident now that I
Even the I'm gonna need you to explain what you mean, War Wizard.
understand what happened here. Now that I'm watching this and watching Meta.
Oh, you mean like VTubers? Or is it, no. I think that, and here's the dealio. I think that most, so I don't watch a whole lot of VTubers, right? Obviously, I watch my girl Cinny, because it's fucking Cinny. Leaflet, watch regularly. I occasionally check Kersha. Occasionally catch Kersha. And those are really the only ones I know. I know for a fact, Cinny go hard in the paint. She a real one. Same with Leaflet, and I assume same with Kersha. But I don't really know many others.
Metatron's reaction. So he wakes up in the morning. He looks down at his son.
Nux isn't a woman. We were talking about covert feminists. But yeah, no, Nux is, like, I was only talking about female conservative VTubers.
Cell phone, something like this. And he sees that he's been blocked by the Coomer Gremlin. He gets up and he stretches.
I love how Andrew Wilson's the only person trying to keep Coomer alive, bro. I like how, like everyone else has moved on to Gooner. And I hate that term, bro. I do. I hate that term Gooner. Because, like, growing up reading comic books, reading Spider-Man, you always see that term goon. Oh, it's the Kingpin's goons. Gooner is such a lame word. Like, when did we switch from Coomer to Gooner? It's not as fun. Celestium, I only recently started watching Celestium. Her and I actually talked the other day. She's awesome. She'll be on the show at some point. Yeah, Celestium's great. I like Celestium. But I don't know enough about her since I've only recently started getting into her content. But anyway, point is, I fucking hate the term Gooner. Like, not even for the conscious, like, all the insults, like, oh, all these Gooners who want hot, chicks in games. Like, it's not even that. I just respect it more if they said Coomer, because it's a more fun word.
Which is...
Yeah, I don't like Nux's Jewish propaganda. I'm gonna be real. Like, I get why he does it. He's a Jew. You're gonna do your own propaganda, obviously. Yeah, a little too much for me. Nux lays that juice shit on thick. But I still like him.
Pretty confident that it went something like that. Pretty confident.
So here's the thing. There is another interaction that me and His Majesty Destiny Stephen Bonnell the 15th had.
His Majesty, Your Majesty. The royal left-wing royalty. Stephen Bonnell. He's the only king in history who greets his noble guest by saying, "Hello, welcome to my castle. Would you like to f my wife?"
But I never really told you about. But at this point, I'm going to clown on him. So, I made a post on the 27th of October 2025. My post was the following. It was a post about Charlie Kirk, what happened to Charlie Kirk, and I said, no one has pushed me further and further away from the political center and to the right more than people like this on the radical left.
Beast!
Common story for many. Most common story I hear is like, look, I thought your politics were crazy, Andrew. I just didn't know that I hated leftists as much as you did until I started seeing you engage with them.
So
you
easy
see
to hate
this
him.
guy's laughing about it, and he's being dishonest, and clearly does not, these are the same people that tell you should be compassionate, you should be empathetic, and then they do this. So, I continue. The discrepancy between we are the party of love and tolerance and this behavior is too blatant, too awful. I cannot stand it. Now, of course, Destiny being the heartless goblin that he is, he decided to call me out. Check this out.
Gremlin.
He put...
Gremlin. Jod Coomer Gremlin, not Goblin.
No, I like Goblin better. I do. I actually think the Goblin's better than Gremlin. Because, like, Gremlins are kind of cool. Gremlins are kind of cool. Like, I've seen Gremlins. I've seen Gremlins, too. I like Gremlins. Goblins, on the other hand, bro. Y'all ever seen Goblin Slayer? Only good goblins are dead goblin. Let's make them goblins good.
Look, I understand. It's the Lord of the Rings dilemma. I get it.
Rachel Maddow convinced me leftists are insane. Bro, I'm not going to go on my Rachel. We got shit to do. I ain't going to go on my Rachel Maddow diatribe.
Are they
Just
orcs
know that
or
I
are
hate
they
that
goblins? Are they orcs, goblins? We don't really know. Tolkien wasn't all that clear on it, right? They could be orcs, it could be goblins. In this case, it could be goblins, could be gremlins. I say gremlin, he says goblin. All right.
And then goes, bro thinks he's on the team and he's not even American, lol.
Thank you, Truth Sayer.
The funny thing about, like, I'm pretty sure he is American. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Metatron has American citizenship. Am I wrong? I know he lives in America now. I think he's lived in America for years. I'm pretty sure Metatron does in fact have American citizenship.
Okay, so listen, Destiny, I know you blocked me, but who knows? Maybe you watch this. I really believe in you. I really think you can learn the English language one day. It's not easy. Took me a few years, but I'm sure you can do it. Because here's the thing. The we in We Are the...
Talagrean says Metatron has... Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm pretty sure I've seen him talk about his American citizenship before.
Party of Love and Tolerance, because that's the only we that I've got here, right? Let's see. Let me check. Is there any other we? Nope.
Yes, he is. I knew he was married to an American woman,
the only we in here is the one where I'm describing, or I am quoting. See, these are quotation marks. They're used to quote. And I'm quoting.
These are quotation marks. They're used to quote. You should put those in one-liners to pick up women. Metatron's big book of one-liners to pick up women. Hey, baby. These are quotation marks. You use them to quote. That's right. And then he could fling the hair because he's got the long, he'd do the little hair toss and
We are the Party of Love and Tolerance. So.
What about Ember Paradox? Who the fuck is Ember Paradox?
How does this we makes you want to bring it up as a way to call me to say that I'm not even American, but I think I'm on the team? How do you not even understand your own freaking language? How? It's not like I said it in Italian. It's not like I said it in Sicilian. You know, if I said it in Sicilian, chi baiterà amore, dov'è sapere?
Now you're just showing off, Metatron.
Io baiterà amore, ti piace parlare siciliano? If I said it in Sicilian, just like I did right now, then, you know, the guy misunderstood because we sounded...
Show off.
I get it.
Oh, I'm Metatron. Look at me. I speak 8,000 languages.
There's only one language that matters, boys. Type English in the chat. It's the only language that matters.
What is the we? Where is the... I see an I. This is a first pronoun, right? No one who...
Oh, yeah. You're going to make fun of people now. Look, that's not how we use pronoun here in the United States, Metatron. Pronouns are now a formal way of addressing people. Metatron. They're not what you think you learned in English class anymore. That's not what pronouns are anymore, Metatron.
I'm getting citizenship, just so you know. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Truthsayer.
If you appreciate...
Wait, do you say he's getting citizenship, or...?
Thanks for watching. I'm getting citizenship.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know.
So maybe he doesn't have it yet, but he's getting
Thanks
it. Fair
for
enough.
watching.
Thank you, Truthsayer.
If you appreciate...
All right. All right, we'll give you your round of applause. Congratulations.
Yes, American
Metatron.
English specifically.
Well done. You got the block.
English, motherfucker,
Badge
do
of
you
honor.
speak it? Man, what a bitch. What an absolute bitch. You love to see it. Man, if I could earn that Destiny block. I'd never block him, but if I could earn it, let me tell you. We don't cover Destiny enough. We really don't. We don't cover Destiny's tomfoolery enough on this show. Because Hassan is always doing dumb shit. Hassan's always doing dumb shit, and we cover that. It kind of overshadows Destiny. Like, because they hate each other. They fucking hate each other. And it almost is like, I want to appreciate how much Destiny hates Hassan. But I fucking hate Destiny, man. Like... I need Destiny to get into some more shit. I need more text messages accusing him of being a pedophile to come out so that we can talk more ridiculous shit on Destiny. We went all in on the flotilla stuff. You know, not all in, actually. We did not go all in on the flotilla stuff. We covered it for just a little bit yesterday. Zax went all in on it. Damn. Destiny, please have sex with a 7-year-old girl. That way we can roast you. Allegedly. All right, we got quite a bit left. We'll see. We're only 2 hours in today's long stream. We got at least another hour or two left. So let's talk about the Chappell Roan stuff. So we still got things about Muslim feminists. We still got stuff about Mississippi getting felted. But let's do the Chappell Roan stuff. Because I know a lot of people were talking about that at the beginning in the chat. A lot of people were talking about the chat. And I don't actually know the story here. I don't know the story. All I know is, you want to know what I know about the Chappell Roan stuff? Here's the extent of what I know about the Chappell Roan stuff. Let's go to Cinevere's. This shit was funny as fuck. Where'd it go? And I'm sure this is not what it's actually about. Right here. But this was fucking hilarious. Breaking. Chappell Roan declares, I hate children and chickens. Chicken. Well, fuck her too. Bro, how you gonna get felted by a goddamn chicken account? 4 million views. 13,000 subs, or followers, bro. Well, fuck her too. This was awesome. When I saw this on X, this made my fucking day, bro. I was driving to the car. It was right after Florida that I saw this. It happened on March 21st, but I didn't see this till after Florida. This is an all-timer tweet. This is an all-timer tweet. I'm gonna put it back in my bookmarks. I had it bookmarked and I removed it. So yeah, this probably isn't about the same thing. But I just had to let y'all know that Chappell Roan got felted by a chicken.
Stop calling me Unk, okay? I don't know who Chappell Roan is. She's apparently a celebrity singer, virtue signaler extraordinaire. Everyone loved her until 48 hours ago, where she completely obliterated her entire reputation. The whole fake nice facade fell apart. I don't know anything about this. I don't know who this person is.
She has not had a fake nice facade. Because I remember covering her last summer. She did this whole thing. And again, the reason I'm doing this, the reason I'm even talking about this, because I don't normally talk about gay-ass, music industry shit. Oh, okay, that's not true. I sometimes do, actually. But the point is, because I actually do like some of her music. I ain't gonna front. I do. I like some of her music. But she a bitch. She's awful. She sucks. So, like, last summer, she went on this big diatribe, and she was all like, if you see me out and about, I don't care if you're a fucking fan. Don't ask me for an autograph. I'm trying to live my life. All this stuff. It's like, no. That's not how being a celebrity works. Sorry, I hate it when celebrities say this gay shit. If you decide to get into the lifestyle of being a public figure and whatnot, that you signed up for that. If you see some little 12-year-old girl, whatever, is a big fan of your music, and she wants to come up to you and ask for an autograph, you give that little bitch an autograph. Because this is what you signed up for. It's not just prancing around, getting on stage, ping pony club. Like, no. No, part of being a fucking celebrity is, having to be out and about and around people that listen to and consume the media that you put out. So fuck that hoe for that.
It was requested for me to cover, so here we are. Let's see what it's all about.
Chappell Roan apparently destroyed her reputation in Brazil within 48 hours of performing at a festival, turning the whole crowd.
I actually very much support virtue signalers destroying their careers in 48 hours. It's very nice. It always comes back to eat them.
Come to Brazil fans into don't come to Brazil ever again. I don't even know how that's possible, but today I guess we'll find out, because it's safe to say the deeper you look into the story, the more odd the whole picture just gets. Lollapalooza Brazil 2026 ran from March 20th to 22nd at the Interlagos circuit at Sao Paulo and had TV Globo.
I'm not unemployed, and therefore I had no idea any of this was happening.
El Murbaugh for a two-banger. Leon, give me an autograph. Leon. I had to. You know what? Fuck you.
The government can suck it.
I had to cleanse the gay away with that statement. Shout out, Murbaugh.
I'm way too busy.
I
don't know. I don't know. Worrying about war with Iran and Epstein eating babies, I guess. Listen, my hobbies are different than yours.
Arguably, I guess, one of the more important TV networks in Brazil as its official media and broadcasting partner. This year's edition featured one of the strongest lineups the festival's had, including headliners like Sabrina Carpenter, Tyler the Creator, Skrillex, Lorde, and...
Bro, we getting so old. We getting so fucking old. How many of these people do you know? I've heard of Sabrina Carpenter. I cannot name a single one of her songs. Tyler the Creator, I know who that is. Couldn't name a single one of his songs. Chappell Roan, I'll admit, I'm kind of like. Is that, I see Tones. Is that Deftones? If so, I know Deftones, obviously. I didn't even know Skrillex was still around. The fuck is Louis Paldi? I never heard of a Louis Paldi. Yeah, I would have thought that Skrillex would have OD'd at this point. For real. Like, Skrillex is still alive. Correct, Michael. I would have thought Skrillex OD'd at this point. I do know one song by TV Girl. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I do know one song by TV Girl. I obviously know Cypress Hill. Never heard of Peggy Gao. Never heard of Calgo. Interpol, Addison Rae, Cat's Eye. Okay. I've never heard of Brutalismus 3000. But that's a dope-ass name. I kind of want to check out Brutalismus 3000. Is there anyone on here I fucking know? Viagra. But there's a band out there called the Viagra Boys. Horse Girl? Okay. Well, y'all know how I feel about, Horse Girl.
Horse Semen's great.
I'm digging Horsecock.
Is your cock a horse cock? You will never hear me say it. Ooh, as I keep more.
My favorite stallion I keep in my top drawer kinda goes hard though.
'Cause there is no cock like horse cock. Send your asshole into shock and eat horse.
I don't know how we're going to ever top Horsecock.
Horse Girl might be alright. Agnes Nunez, Negra Lee, Hamdi, Foto en Grupo. Now, to be fair, a lot of these are probably like Latino acts because this is Lollapalooza, Brazil. Horse Girl is a DJ? Okay, I don't know shit about DJs, bro. I don't know shit about DJs. Point is, this is a whole who's who of who gives a fuck, is what I'm getting at.
Chappell Roan. And
I heard of like most of those people, I'll admit. They're all stupid. All right, this is my my nuclear take is I actually don't care about any of them. All right, their opinions mean nothing to me, and they keep trying to insert their opinions everywhere. Maybe not Lord and Skrillex, but Sabrina Carpenter is also like one of these anti-ice people. Dude, her mask will slip too. All right, all these people that virtue signal, they all have something to hide. It's all gonna come back to bite them.
The Sao Paulo date was the final stop of her most recent tour that started in Warsaw, Poland in 2025. That might be relevant because clearly from everything that happened, she's tired. Her last performance was on March 15th in Santiago, and after that she was headed to the Tongara Palace for her stay before performing on the Saturday, the 21st, for her final night of her tour. And it was the morning of March 21st that I guess the entire story started, because that's when official TV Globo account asked Twitter.
Well, it's not TV Globo. Because if you got Chappell Roan on your show, it is TV Globo Homo.
I wonder what Chappell Roan had for breakfast today. And
I need an interviewer to ask Chappell Roan, how would you feel if you didn't have breakfast today? And let's see if she can answer it. Like, imagine that, dude. You get her on interview. How would you feel if you didn't have breakfast today? Well, but I did have breakfast today. Like, I feel like she'd be the type of broad that can't handle a hypothetical.
I guess that was the first domino that fell for this entire story.
How is that a
because
domino?
Also,
That's like the
in
most
town for the
nothing tweet
weekend,
ever.
staying at the Tongara Palace, which, by the way, I guess is just a really high-end hotel there. There was a woman and her 11-year-old daughter who was a fan of the singer, Chappell Roan.
Is this really going to be about, like... No. Earlier, when I said 12-year-old kid comes up to you and asks for an autograph, you give it. Because when I was referencing her saying some dumb shit in an interview a year ago. If that is actually the situation, like if this whole thing is legitimately mother brought her little girl up, little girl loves the music, and asked for an autograph, and Chappell Roan basically told the little girl to fuck up. If that's the case, yo, fuck this hoe.
She'd woken up early.
You see, listen, I'm not an 11-year-old girl, and therefore I am not in the age range or gender range to understand any of this, okay? Listen, stop calling me Unk, all right? I'm still cool, guys. I'm not that old.
That morning, buzzing with excitement, she made a handmade sign and she was counting.
Look at that. That's adorable. Hottogo. Yeah, hot to go. That's like what that's my favorite song by her, mind you. Like that song is a fucking bop, bro. This is how could you turn down a little girl that come up and ask for an autograph? They made this handmade sign. Like, yo, it's even worse. Okay, I'll keep watching. If it's even worse.
Running down to the show that evening, which was, I guess, her birthday gift from her parents. And they were also having breakfast at the hotel when someone.
God damn, guys, I've been thinking for a few years now that I might be a sociopath. But this is breaking my heart already. Stop it, Steam.
With long curly red hair passed by through the restaurant. And the mother apparently turns to the girl.
Never meet your heroes.
Look, as someone who's worked in the music industry, most of the people I met were chill. Smash Mouth, super fucking chill. Sugar Ray, super fucking chill. Now, I heard back in the 90s that Mark McGrath was a fucking asshole. But I meet him in the 90s. It was like the 2015-ish era. He was super fucking chill. Now, Amy Lee, lead singer of Evanescence, she was a cunt. And Pink was a cunt. Those are the only two I can think of at the top of my head that were like fuck them. But nah, this whole never meet your heroes thing, most of the folk that I've met have been chill.
They all suck. Look, anyone that's actually worth anything is not the type of person that wants to be famous. I'm just going to be real. People that want to be famous, for the most part, assholes.
Whose name is Ada, and asked, hey, do you think that was Chappell Roan? Ada obviously was extremely excited from this because, you know, she's here to see her idol.
Skillet better be cool. They're a Christian band. If they weren't cool to meet if they were like assholes, that would be a problem for their entire fucking brand.
So I guess she got up and she walked over just to check if this was Chappell or not. She then confirmed it was her, I guess smiled at the singer, and then walked back and sat down at her table. And
Literally the most respectful thing ever. Oh my God. Dude, not harassing her, not asking her for a selfie, just smiles at her. Literally the most wholesome kid in the world.
There was no phone out, no photo attempts, nor did she even say anything to the artist.
Like, I'm not even exaggerating. People have recognized me in public by my laugh. Apparently someone heard me laughing and was like, oh my God, I know that laugh. And then, are you Nux? And I'm like, maybe. Are you a Hassan Piker fan? Do you want to kill me? Anyway, yeah, so that was definitely more intrusive than whatever happened to Chappell Roan.
So the kid essentially just glanced over to confirm that she was looking at the right person. However, moments later, a large security guard walked over to their table while they were still eating, and according to the family, proceeded to go off on them.
Whoa. So, Gurley doesn't even ask her. She looks at her and smiles and walks away. God damn, what a cunt, bro.
Accusing Ada of disrespecting and harassing the artist, and
dude, these people are so soft. Like, get a reality check. Right? These are the people that are going to tell you that you're not allowed to deport people. Meanwhile, they deport 11-year-old girls from their table.
Threatening to file a
That's diabolical.
formal complaint against them with the hotel.
God.
What? That just doesn't make sense. But the girl...
Again, hold up. We're only hearing the story from, like, the girl's perspective, right? The family's perspective. We don't know what actually happened, right?
As you would expect, ended up in tears.
Yeah, but here's the dealio. I could absolutely believe this because of other dumb shit Chappell Roan has said in the past. Like, I mentioned the thing from around a year ago that was in the news, but she said a lot of other dumb shit as well. And you know what? This checks out. This actually checks out because what was this post? We all focus on the chicken shit. But the whole thing is Chappell Roan declares, I hate children and chickens. So, like, if she actively said she hates children, and then, a child just looks at her and smiles and goes back, I could 100% believe this story. Yeah, there's two sides. Maybe there's two sides to every story. But, like, between this and some of the other shit she said in interviews in the past, like, there is evidence for pattern of behavior that this broad just a fucking cunt.
Now, what nobody at that restaurant could have anticipated is the person who was about to call this all out on the internet. Because that was her stepfather, Giorgino Frello, who's apparently a 34-year-old Italian-Brazilian Champions League winner.
So you got celebrity on celebrity violence going on? This is amazing.
He's a former Chelsea player, a former Arsenal player, and now he's back in Brazil with Flamengo.
Nice.
His wife, aka Ada's mother, is Catherine Harding, a British singer and model and content creator.
Oh my God, they're all so famous. This is literally the bourgeoisie harassing the bourgeoisie.
Who goes by Kat Cavelli online. And Ada is Catherine's daughter from a previous relationship, and that previous relationship would be actor Jude Law.
It's Jude Law's kid? This is bro! You can't make this shit up. Oh, don't get too excited. It escalates further. Hold on. Chappell Roan. Gal that grew up in my neck of the woods. Blew up. Lives a dream. Gets famous. Only to become a raging cunt to Jude Law's 11-year-old daughter. I don't normally cover celebrity drama on this channel. It's not my thing. I'm so fucking glad we are covering this. Like, do you think Jude Law feels bad? Do you think this is like the universe giving him like karma for being in that children's Star Wars show? It's like, hey, you made a bad Star Wars show for kids. Now we're gonna have your daughter's idol harass her in a restaurant. But wait, there's more.
So the 11-year-old sitting in tears at a hotel breakfast is Ada Law. And a few hours after breakfast, Jorginho published a long statement on Instagram in both Portuguese and English, where he walked through all of it. He tagged Chappell directly.
Imagine getting your career ended because you needed to seem too high and mighty to let a little girl smile at you in a restaurant.
And ended the post in all caps, telling her that without her fans, she would be nothing, and telling those fans that she didn't deserve the affection. Now, to understand what happened next, you kind of need to understand something about Flamengo, the team Ada's stepfather currently plays for, because after some research, while studying the topic, I think it's safe to say that these guys are not just a football club. Unlike American football clubs, the organized supporter groups at Brazilian football groups, they're very passionate people. And when one of their star players calls someone out, they're going to bat for them.
So now, hold on. So we got a professional fucking soccer player calling out, a female, famous British singer. Jude Law is the father. And then you get the whole team to rally behind you to drag this bitch through the mud? All right, baby, let's go.
This is the greatest drama ever. It's just a lot of unlikable rich people destroying each other. Hell yeah, dude. Based. And look, I respect rich people when they contribute to society. Don't get me wrong. I don't respect whores. That was a random tangent.
So it somehow seems like all of Brazil came out against Chappell Roan for a moment on the internet.
God.
It's safe to say that Brazilian Twitter was fully locked in on being a hate mob for Chappell.
Made the wrong person famous. Your fans are the reason where you are. You should be more grateful. Respect your fans. Apologize to Jorginho's daughter. Being rude isn't iconic, by the way.
Roan. Even the official TV Globo returned to the tweet.
Oh, shit! Wonder what Chappell Roan had for breakfast today. Yeah, that aged well. Dude! Whoever run this account gotta be a man, because this is funny.
He made that morning and was like, yeah, oops, that aged well. But by the time Chappell was due on stage that evening, the story had already left Brazil. But either way, none of that was enough to change anything about the night's schedule. It was quite the opposite, actually, because despite all of the noise on social media, in real life, the crowd that showed up to enjoy the festival even started a
Dude, Twitter's not real life. These people aren't real.
Screw Flamengo chant. And
bro, you really think that people think men could be women? Bro, you go on Twitter and you'll believe that some people actually think that. No one really thinks that. Please, right? Please tell me no one actually thinks that.
At least there, in person, no one really stopped supporting the artist. I feel like that would actually be kind of funny here is if she didn't check Twitter or the internet that day because, she was busy warming up for her show and getting ready for the final night of her tour. So she shows up on stage.
Bro, please. These people, they do be searching themselves 100 times a day. Their entire career is based on what people are talking about them. Like, I'll be real. I was watching this Rev Says Desu video the other day. It just popped up on my feed. We're actually finished. All right, and there he is, talking about like some sort of drama. I just needed some mindless slop in the background. And then this bro in the video actually tries to cancel me. This was diabolical. Don't follow me if you watch Chibi Reviews. Noxtaku, Rev, Asmongold, Kirsche are bigoted creators in general. I mean, quite literally, I didn't even know this was going. I didn't even know it was getting canceled. All right, that's.
Leon brings us the best slop for the work hours. No, that's what the Tuesday show is, baby. The Tuesday show. The lunch hour is. The Wednesday, Thursday show, we cover hard politics at first, and then we get into the slop as a palate cleanser.
That's why we have to watch our homies, to make sure that we know that. I really didn't know this was going on. I really don't actually, ego check myself at all. I actually don't give a shit, to be honest. I think most people are retarded. That's kind of my mindset. Your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer. So, apparently I got canceled, didn't even know about it, and then I just caught the craziest stray of my life watching someone else's video. But no, most people are retarded, and they pay very much attention to what people say about them online.
And the whole crowd's just chanting F at Flamengo. And she's just like, bro, what's going on here? That would kind of be funny because it's definitely possible she had no idea this was going on until after her show.
She absolutely knew.
Chappell Roan performed her headline set at Lola. She closed out her tour in front of a huge crowd at Interlagos. And by all accounts, the performance itself was exactly what it was supposed to be. But at one point, at the end of her set, she decided to thank her security team on stage. To be precise, actually,
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
She gave a general warm send-off to everyone who had worked with her throughout the run. She told the crowd that she didn't know when she was going to be going on tour again, and that was her last show for now, and that she was grateful for everyone behind the scenes, her crew, her band, everyone who made it possible, including her security. But of course, the timing of her thanking her security team on that day...
Thank you to my security team. Thank you. A lot of 11-year-old girls would have otherwise not gotten harassed, but thanks to you guys.
Hours after all of this broke, obviously triggered the internet. So that in itself became a massive talking point as well. So people started asking, hey, was this intentional? Was this just tone deaf? Or was it just an unfortunate coincidence?
I choose to believe this is intentional. Because she seems like such a narcissistic cunt canoe that she literally was like... Little plebeian child approaching me. Security, go take care of it. Some big burly security dude comes up, makes a little girl cry, and Chappell Roan's like, yes, that feeds me. I'm a flick of my bean now.
I don't know. But what we do know is that the meme response to all this was genuinely kind of hilarious. Here's a clip from an unrelated incident where Chappell was caught on camera apparently noticing paparazzi and distancing and gesturing out of security to sick him. That resurfaced. Apparently people were saying, oh, there's a pattern here. And just like that, the timeline was already in motion. I mean,
holy shit, 11-year-old girl spotted. Bro, kill her. She's 11. She smiled at me. Bro, drop kick that bitch.
Twitter started making a whole bunch of comparisons, linking situations after situations, saying, look how she's treating people. So the same crowd that had spent years saying, come to Brazil to every celebrity who'd ever existed online, made a very swift and very public pivot to do not come to Brazil, all within roughly 48 hours.
I really hope that there's a blowback effect that affects the drag community. Is like, we could capitalize on this, right? We could be like, hey, it's not all of us. It's just the drags. It's just the drag queens. You know, like, they want to get together and actually read story time books about, you know, sex and shit to kids in schools. It's just them. Like, because Brazil is, like, they're politically fucked. Okay, Brazil is politically fucked. They're basically a commie dictatorship. If we could use Chappell Roan as the catalyst for turning Brazil based and hating the drags, that would be amazing.
And this is like the online zeitgeist, because at least at the show, it seemed like the fans were very engaged with Chappell. So it is hard to say, but the internet, especially the Brazilian internet community, is not happy with her. Because here's, I guess, where the story stops being just like celebrity drama and starts becoming something surreal.
Wait, it gets more? How do you get more surreal than a trio of celebrities' little daughter smiles at a narcissistic cunt canoe singer, gets security called on them, internet rages out, and that's the appetizer?
Because late on March 21st, the same day as the hotel incident, a few hours before her show, the mayor of Rio de Janeiro posted on his Twitter account announcing that
Bro, no.
Chappell Roan
Bro cannot be this unemployed.
This is what the internet was made for. Like, I was saying on stream yesterday, in reference to Donald Trump, that more politicians gotta be posting big dick power moves on X. This ain't as like high end as Trump being like, yes, we killed Iranian leaders, they died like a dog. This isn't as much of a big dick power move as that, but this is on the right track.
Was permanently banned from performing at everywhere in Rio.
No shot. I mean that as long as I'm in charge of our city, this young lady, Chappell Roan, will never perform at Todo Mundo no Rio. Oh my God. Oh my, because of an Instagram post. Dude, first of all, I just want to say, I totally believe that she got her security guard sicked on an 11-year-old. It seems like the kind of like ego trip that these dumb fucks actually do. So I totally believe the story. But you shouldn't just believe these stories. Hello, there's no evidence this even happened. Because of an unfounded allegation, you're gonna ban her from the city?
No, couldn't care less. Couldn't, like, Nah, that's fine. Treat this like you would treat an illegal immigrant, Nux. Like, allegation or not, illegal immigrant, oh, he'd be like, get him the fuck out. This is the same thing. This is the same thing. She coming into this country, she eating their food, she making money, and then she does some shit like this, allegation or not, outie like 4 circles.
Rio de Janeiro? This is diabolical. Fuck yeah, dude.
While he was in charge because of what happened, I guess. And that Shakira would never mistreat a fan like Chappell Roan allegedly did.
Her hips don't lie and neither do her morals.
So I guess even the mayor's getting involved now. So I guess for context, everyone in Rio is
Zoran Mamdani is currently monitoring the situation, guys.
Rio de Janeiro's ongoing series of massive free concerts on Copacabana Beach, which has quickly become one of the biggest live music festivals in the world. Madonna headlined the first edition in May 2024 in front of 1.6 million people, and then Lady Gaga followed in May 2025 with an estimated crowd of 2.5 million people.
Oh wait, from Madonna to Gaga to Chappell Roan, like each year it has gotten progressively faggier.
And now Shakira is up next in
Oh,
May of
okay,
2026.
Shakira. Okay, no, Shakira's awesome. Shakira's got great music. Shakira's got some banger tunes, bro.
However, the mayor wrote, as long as he's running the city, Chappell Roan would have no place on that stage. And then he also added that Ada was already a guest of honor for the Shakira show in May, which Georgino responded with 2 heart emojis.
Oh my God,
interesting political play.
That is a crazy plot twist. I would have never expected that.
But I guess here's the thing. The part that makes this even more unhinged is that the mayor's name is Eduardo Cavalier. And March 21st, 2026 was his first day in office.
What? On day 1, homie nukes Chappell Roan. I would like to take this moment for all y'all non-Christians in the chat, in the audience. Just a little tip of the hat. Thank you, God.
Bro, these dudes, they're all virtue signalers. Every single one of them.
I don't give a fuck if it's a virtue signal. It is hilarious.
Politicians, singers, celebrities, YouTubers, influencers. All of these people just want attention. It's unbelievable. This attention whoring society that we've created is diabolical. Oh my God. Bro wanted internet points so badly his first day in office. So he banned some singer. Oh my.
Right, but what would you rather? Right, like let's be real. What would you rather? It's your first day in office, you a mayor, you're gonna virtue signal. Would you rather a tweet that's like, we respect all 47 genders and want to make sure that our schools are a safe place for people that want to cut the cock off of 12-year-olds? Or would you want him to be like, hey, yo, fuck that Chappell Roan bitch? I'm choosing option number 2 if I get to pick my virtue signal.
God, dude, it's so petty. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Watching these people's egos, and it'll all come around to bite all of them. All right, that's the funniest part.
That was essentially the first thing that he did in office was ban Chappell Roan from performing in his city at this concert. But apparently the guy
that's
who was
actually
there
awesome. I would respect the shit out of some of these people if they pulled shit like that.
Before him, Eduardo Paes had stepped down midterm to run for governor of Rio de Janeiro state. And under Brazilian...
Listen, think about it this way. If Donald Trump decided to go up to the podium and say, I have decided my first decree of the day, Hassan Piker is no longer welcome to America, I would find that fucking awesome. Okay, just to be crystal clear.
Law, a sitting mayor cannot run in state elections. So they typically just resign and go on with their campaign and let someone else take over. So Cavalier, who I guess has been serving as vice mayor, stepped into the role.
And his last name is Cavalier. That was very cavalier of him. It works on so many levels.
When Paes stepped down. So what makes this so funny is a large portion of Brazil found out about the new mayor through the Chappell Roan announcement.
Bro,
and again,
W.
his first move was to ban an American pop singer from performing at like a free festival, essentially. And my understanding is he has that power because my understanding is this festival is paid for by taxpayers.
Oh my
so
God.
therefore it's a free festival. So yeah, I guess you would have that power.
That's awesome.
But the next day, Chappell posted a
Holy
video to her Instagram story where
What? She apologized?
finally addressed the whole thing.
No!
And
she addresses it.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I feel like I'm about to get a lot of use out of that clip, baby.
No, she did the cardinal sin of addressing the situation. It's so over.
is composed and straightforward. She said that she never saw a woman and child and nobody actually came up to her, and that she
Yeah, because that's the crux of the story. The kid didn't even come up to her. If we're to believe the family here, the little girl just smiled at her.
Likely story.
She never instructed anyone to approach the family, and that she'd also had nothing to do with the security guard going over to the table because he was
press X to doubt.
Wasn't even a part of her personal team.
I'm just gonna tell him.
What? No one's buying this, bro.
She gotta be the only broad that somehow looks better in the drag makeup. Like, she's the chick playing a dude playing the chick, right? It's the fucking reverse of the Robert Downey Jr. movie, the funny one, Tropic Thunder. She look busted up here. Like, you know what she kind of looks like? What's her name from The Last of Us? The retarded potato girl? Mr. Potato Head's daughter? The non-trans binary one or what the fuck ever? I'm gonna be a dad. Looks like her if she had ginger hair.
Of the story of what happened today with a mother and child who were involved with a security guard who is not my personal security. I did not ask the security guard to go up.
Yeah, Bella Ramsey. Thank you.
And talk to this mother and child. I did not.
So let's get this straight, okay? I'm just trying to figure this out. If you didn't notice this mother and child, but you did notice a security guard going to yell at them, then something's not adding up.
It's like the Phil Collins thing, like, oh, the song is about him watching a guy watch a guy drown. But it's not what that song is actually about, by the way. But, like, that's the conspiracy theory. That's what she's explaining. I didn't see the family. I saw the security guard that saw the family.
Hello? You know the security guard, right? Because you're claiming it's not your personal security. It's a separate security. So you obviously know the instance we're talking about. So you know the people he was yelling at. Dude, no one's buying this shtick. And the fact that she does it, like, nonchalantly in bed in her hotel room, it's like, it's obviously her trying to mitigate the obvious mental meltdown that she's currently having.
Yeah, see, I should be able to remember that name, because she looked like a fucking mushroom person, so it should be Portabella Ramsey.
Did not come up to me. They weren't doing anything. It's unfair for security to just assume someone doesn't have good intentions.
Throwing security under the bus.
When they have no reason to believe because there's no action even taken. Like, I do not hate people who are fans of my music.
The interview you gave about a year ago says otherwise. The fact that you said in an interview that you hate children, this was a child, says otherwise.
I do not hate children.
However,
imagine needing to make an apology video saying, I don't hate children. Damn.
Catherine's version of events, posted right after Chappell's response, matched her husband's almost exactly. Ada had no phone, made no approach, and said nothing to anyone. And she also made a point of clarifying that the security guard in question was certainly not hotel staff. He was someone connected to the artists.
Chappell has responded saying
oh my God,
it wasn't
I can't believe this is becoming like actual drama.
Security and that she didn't do it. So 100% this security guard was not a security guard of the hotel. That's what I can say. He looks after artists. So I don't know if it was her personal security guard, but he was with her. So that's...
Yeah, no one's buying that it wasn't her personal security guard. Or else she would have said she didn't even know this thing went on. She didn't know what was going on. It was hotel staff. She didn't say that. She just said it's not her team, whatever the fuck that means. She obviously knew this happened. All right, she's minimizing the situation, trying to make believe all nonchalantly she didn't even notice this happened, but she also noticed enough to know that the security guard wasn't her team. All right, dude. You got this guy to yell at a little girl, okay? I'm just cackling on the sidelines.
That is all I know. Did she send him to do it? Again, I don't know. Look, I would like to hope not, but at the same time,
I'd like to hope not. But if we look through the last year to year and a half of this gal's behavior in America, she a bit of a bitch. So, if I was a betting boy,
I think that you have a responsibility when you are a celebrity.
And then she's doing like the virtue signal. You're a celebrity. You should have responsibility for your fans, not to let your security guards attack. Bro, dude.
I wouldn't call that virtue signal. Again, I think that's true. If you're a celebrity, you're a public figure, you signed up for this shit. I don't even consider that a virtue signal. Like, if she was like, as a celebrity, you have your, it's important for you to share your voice and inspire, like, okay, that shit's gay as fuck. But that doesn't really seem how this one's coming off.
This is awesome. All these people suck. It's great. It's just great, dude.
To make sure, I guess, that the people that work for you and that act on your behalf are acting on your behalf.
So I guess the core disagreement here isn't really about what Ada did. Everyone seems to be on the same page here. The question is who that security guard was and whether he acted on his own instructions or if he was directed to do so by his boss. Who knows?
Yeah, who
But the
knows?
Brazilian press even tried to contact the hotel in
no one's
question
buying
the
this shit,
following
dude.
Monday because, this is now a
I
very
feel like you can get security footage for this, right?
big thing there now. But the hotel's press office stated that it does not comment on the matters involving the guests, adding that Giorgino and his wife's statements make it clear that the hotel was not involved in the situation with the singer. So, I mean, that's a little vague, but it seems like the place is backing up the
I was saying, yeah, the hotel is effectively saying, wasn't our security.
Family's account that the security guard was not a part of the hotel's team. So, okay. But I feel like one of the reasons this whole story went so viral isn't just because of who the kid was, there being a kid involved, and who the parents were. No,
The reason why this story went viral is because one of these goody two shoes, fake nice, virtue signaling, kind women that's just out there to make the world a better place and say fuck ICE and virtue signal and grift and do all that slop.
And all of what Nux just said is true, which is why I made it part of the title of my video, because I did not realize this would be such slop, stupid drama. I assumed, okay, because Chappell Roan has said some fucking retarded shit politically. Just some of the most lefty nonsense you could ever imagine. Some straight up Marxist, commie harder daddy, shit like that. So when I saw Nux, who usually covers political stuff, do a video about Chappell Roan, I was like, oh, what political shit did she do this time? So the title to this stream, Chappell Roan, brutally roasted over politics or whatnot, is completely inaccurate. I'm gonna have to rename this shit afterwards.
All right. Turns out she's actually probably a bitch. Much to the surprise of literally, not me.
Apparently there's been a reputation that's been building around Chappell Roan for a while. So she's been one of the most outspoken artists in recent memory when it comes to setting boundaries around public interactions. And those statements and confrontations with paparazzi become a go-to example in a lot of people's arguments once the hotel story broke out. And a lot of people found this perspective reasonable and still do.
It's not reasonable. Her perspective is not reasonable at all. I just want to throw it out there. Her perspective isn't reasonable. It is so disrespectful to the people that made your career what it is. You would not be in this position. You would not be famous. You would not have these big hit banger songs. You would not have all your wealth and fame and money if not for the regular, average, everyday motherfucker who works a 9 to 5, then buys the fucking song for his kid on iTunes or whatever. You wouldn't have any of this if not for them. So no, yes, if you were in the position that you were in, you actually do owe it to these people that want to come up to you, that do want to say hello, that do want to autograph, whatnot. Obviously, there are going to be people who are rude about it. There's people who are dicks about it, and that shit sucks. And that's what you got security for and whatnot. That's an unfortunate reality of the job. But you owe everything to these people.
Conversations she started around celebrity boundaries and parasocial relationships were genuinely important ones. But I guess that history also meant that when a story surfaced around an 11-year-old girl being brought to tears at a breakfast table, a significant portion of the internet already had an established backstory ready to attach to it. So who knows if it was fair or not? I don't know. The thing is, like, if you are a touring artist, you are signing up to have fan interactions. That's just the reality of the job. Now, obviously,
Dude, this wasn't even interaction. She smiled at her in the restaurant to the point that she didn't even notice she was there. According to her, she claims she didn't notice she was there. You know, like, I don't know, bro. I feel like it was just it was a power play. It was an ego move. Oh, I'm actually way too important for you, little girl. Don't get your hopes up thinking you could just grin at me like we're equals. I don't know. That's kind of the vibe I get. Like, these are these holier-than-thou people that thinks that, like, their words, their opinions actually fucking matter when they really don't. All right? They're not trying to make fun of anybody here, but they glorified hoes, all right? They're out there selling themselves to the public, and the reality is that's not someone I would ever give a shit about their actual personal opinions on literally anything. I know that's a controversial take, but, I mean, that's that. Whoever idolizes these people is retarded.
there are so many examples that are just awful between fans and celebrities. But regardless.
Yeah, but that also goes to the territory. It is an unfortunate reality. Like, again, if this had been some fat, schlubby dude, you know, with BO and like drool coming out of his fucking mouth and shit, and he's hobbling up to her looking like the fucking penguin from Batman. Oh, yeah, call some security, dude. Dude might have some screws loose. Call some security. That's uncool. But an 11-year-old girl, dude? Like, nah. This is some bullshit.
I can't see why anyone would ever be bothered from an 11-year-old fan walking up and smiling towards you. Yeah.
Ego.
Either way, though, whatever Chappell Roan ordered that morning at the Tongara Palace, it's safe to say that she ended up with a whole lot.
The most expensive meal of her life.
More than she expected.
And from the city of Rio de Janeiro. That's fucking awesome.
That, hey, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe.
That was great. I'll link it in the description. Yeah, no, I love when celebrities get fucked. I love it. I love it when they get taken down a peg. All right, you thought you were the most powerful, unbelievable, holiest person on the planet. Everyone should worship you. And then you act like a bitch one time and everything collapses. Honestly, it's beautiful. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
That was great. That was good slop to take us away from all the hard-hitting political stuff. There's the link. Again, I don't care how good your music is, dude. I don't care how good your music is. If you a bitch, you a bitch. And that's the case for so many artists out there. These people getting their comeuppance is incredible. So we're going to go back to some political stuff. Hopefully a little bit funnier, but political in general. Before that, you guys get a chair stream because I got to take a piss. I'll be right back. There y'all. You got Chair of Paradise there for a bit. Chair of Paradise, what up? Chair says the most interesting things. You should hear what the pillows say. Alrighty. Let's make fun of both Muslims and feminists. Muslim feminists go to Islamic country, and then this happened. You know it's gonna be good, baby. You know it's gonna be good. It's like, throw them off the roof.
Did you know Islam was the first society to allow women to keep their last name in marriage?
You also know that in Islamic countries, women need male permission to work, study, or travel. You also know that in Islam, female genital mutilation has been practiced to make sure women will not enjoy sex. Did you also know that in Islam, if a woman being raped and she cannot prove it by providing 4 male witnesses, she can go to jail for adultery or even to be stoned to death?
Yes. I actually knew all of these things, because Islam is a religious fundamentalist death cult that needs to be eradicated. But yeah, I knew all this shit, but do go on.
That in Islam, a rape victim must marry her rapist to preserve family honor? Did you also know that honor killing still practiced in Islam, and women that dishonor their family still being killed, and that practice usually go unpunished?
Coming soon to a New York City near you.
Did you also know that in Islam, woman's testimony worth half of men's? Did you also know that in Islam, when a man want to divorce a woman, all he have to do is just say 3 times, I divorce you, while women have to go a really
clicking his heels 3 times like Dorothy from the Wizard of Allah.
complicated, long legal procedure. And by the way, because I'm actually Middle Eastern and I know the Islamic culture very well, unlike some people here, I can even tell you the exact words that they are using to do so. And it's bara, bara, bara. This is it. As you also know that in Islam, a man can have 3 or 4 wives when a woman only allowed to have 1. And did you know that in Islam, marital rape is not considered to be a crime because women must be available for sexual relationship all the time because she is his property.
And yet, for whatever reason, there's people out there that are like, oh, Trump shouldn't have bombed these fuckers. Bro, glass these heathens, son.
And did you know that non-Muslim women are considered to be permitted to be raped and to have sexual relationship with them? That's why we see a lot of grooming gangs and gang rapes in Europe. Did you also know that the Quran says that the men are in charge of women, and if your woman is disobeying you, you must strike her?
Okay, now that one's kind of based. That was kind of based. All right, rare Islamic W.
Progressive love to portray brown people as magical, oppressed heroes. We just saw Mamdani praising the Prophet Muhammad, and we all know who exactly he was. Let me be clear here. There is no such a thing, Islamophobia. And if you
Beast!
keep lying about Islam just to be righteous, the 500,000 girls being raped in England, that's on you.
Once you go.
That was insane. And that was just the intro, dude. That was just 2 minutes of, hey, dumb Western blue-haired white women. Shut the fuck up and know your place, because this is what you're voting for. You absolute cows.
Outside, she has to ask me. It's kind of like a woman go outside. A lot of people go, some people are crazy. It's not all the places safe for my wife. It's not she can't fighting like men fighting. My wife, she get accident, she gets staying crying.
Oh,
she can either get conversation with the policeman to get it, but the man can fighting, go talking, go do with the stuff. You know what I'm saying? So the hardest stuff, that's in.
Sevi says, OMG, is that the wife? I thought it was his like grandmother or his mother or something. Oh yeah, then you say she looks more like grandma. Is that the wife? That's a really good question. Is that, bro, imagine if she orders the wrong food at this restaurant for him. Alright, Dilly. I need you to take the glasses off so that I don't have to replace them when I beat the fuck out of you.
Most of these people, the harder stuff, that's what man has to do because he has more power. It's not mean stronger or woman doesn't have it. No, it's me. The woman is like something like chocolate. Chocolate is melty. I don't want to my wife get hard working and get tired and come back home. I need her to be staying queen. When I go home, I see my girl.
War Wizard, member for 8 months, says, listen, I don't care about all the great things she's saying about Islam right now. I still don't Well done. Well done, War Wizard.
For a while, see my
Thank you for 8 months of membership.
See my house clean. See my life ready to me.
And so, like in other countries, that's just basically the norm. That's what is expected of.
It's choice. Like some people between the man and woman, they have agreement. Hey, can I go whatever I want? It's fine. It's not mean something I can hold you from the neck. Hey, so you have to stay. You have to do. No, it's not like that.
Yo, can we get some subtitles to this motherfucker? Hold on. I'm trying to. I can't understand a goddamn thing this Dune Kun is saying.
All those came from snap from.
Really?
Most Muslims have no idea what Islam teaches. Most Muslims are shocked to hear when I say, oh, Hazrat Aisha, did you know she was 9 when Muhammad deflowered her? You're a liar. You're lying, right? But wait, you're so. Then they say, well, it was acceptable at that time.
Deflowered is a very, very nice way of saying raped.
Or, no, these are lies, these are later traditions. So not every Muslim is on board because not every Muslim knows. But if you're convinced, now here's the problem. If you're convinced it's the truth, you're stuck with it. Muhammad had at one time 11 wives. Every single wife of Muhammad after he died could never remarry again. That's in the Quran. You cannot have his wives after him. So he left some of them widows. Aisha was 18, they say, and others in their 20s widows, and some of them lived to their 50s without ever being able to marry, have children. This is what he did to them. And you're telling me he's a mercy unto mankind? Seriously? And what does it tell you about a man who had 9 wives and couldn't get any of them pregnant? None of it.
God damn, homie is just going the fuck off.
The other woman who can get pregnant, not even Aisha, who married at 9, left them all childless and widows who could never remarry again. And he's a mercy unto women? Where's the mercy in leaving these women without a husband or children for the rest of their days? That's merciful?
Now, to be fair, it was merciful for the rest of us, because that means they didn't birth any more Muslim babies to eventually grow up and fly planes into buildings and shit. So there's that.
Women have needs, right? They want companionship. They want intimacy. They want children. And he left them with none of that. And you're telling me he's a mercy unto mankind. Now, to show you how cruel he is, if a woman fears from her husband contempt or desertion, there is no sin upon them if they make terms of settlement between them. Now, the context is, Sauda bin Zama, she was an older wife of Muhammad, but he was no longer attracted to her. And she feared that Muhammad was going to divorce her. So she made a deal with him. Keep me as your wife, but you don't have to visit me. This woman said, don't divorce me. Keep me as your wife. And the day assigned to me, you can give it to Aisha. So Aisha had 2 days.
The 9-year-old.
Yep. And he left this woman in a house all by herself the rest of her days.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. This is what was almost universally voted for in New York. This is the culture that Mamdani wants to perpetuate. Everyone's like, oh, he's a communist. No, dude, it's worse than that. Not that there's much worse than communism. But he is a fake communist to get the votes of all these blue-haired fucking land whales to usher in this radical Dune-Kun fundamentalism.
So his God said, that's the deal, go with. Now, why did she want to be his wife? Because the Quran says that all of Muhammad's wives will be his wives in paradise. So she was hoping that if he didn't divorce her.
No. You say barely more than half. I'm not talking about all of New York. I'm saying of all the feminist, we're pro, Islam and we're pro lefty politics and whatnot. Like, of his voting base. What up, Jeff? How you doing?
She'd end up with him in paradise. And he left this woman alone in a house without having no children with her, all because he was not attracted to her. The men are winning. The women are getting abused. I don't know how in the world this guy is a mercy unto mankind.
You know, I come on here and I try to be balanced. I really do.
There's no balance when it comes to this shithole religion. When it comes to this god awful, there is no balance. Now, if there was balance, it would be on like a plank suspended 3,000 feet, and then you push. There needs to be an off balance.
You guys see how I always make an attempt to say not all Muslims, not Islam, Hadith, Quran, not Quran, but that one's hard. I tell you guys, I read the...
Yeah, that one's hard. Like how Muhammad gets for 9-year-old girls.
Quran twice. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with Islam as a religion.
Well, then you're wrong.
I have a problem with Islamism. But there's some things in the Quran that are still very questionable. There are.
Questionable is a very nice term.
There are. There's many surahs there that are just fucking questionable. And it's hard as a Jew, and I'm trying to be balanced. I really am. You guys see the attempt I make to not be a bigot, to not write off all Muslims. I really try.
I can already tell you this dude's a bitch. This dude is a bitch. I don't want to write off all Muslims. I don't want to be a bigot. No, fuck that. Be a bigot. Be an actual real... We don't have enough bigotry. We got fake bigotry. Like, and I've joked about this with Hypno and about, the bigot army and whatnot. We bigots about women with man jaws and video games. That's fake bigotry. We need some real life bigotry, bro.
But there's just certain pieces of content sometimes that we review on here that it's hard. I don't even have a good response for that because it's true. Those stories are fucked up, man. They're fucked up.
In Islam, we don't do till death do us part. Habibi, it's fi dunya wal akhirah.
So I just want to make a video to thank everyone for everything. I came to the police station to open up a case against him, and as I said, he has so many contacts that I actually got arrested. I am
Fafo! Fuck around, find out. I don't feel sorry for this broad at all. I don't feel sorry for this bitch at all. First of all, you sound British or some sort of not American, so you already suck. But that aside, y'all let this happen. It says right here. You guys can't see it. One sec. She converted to Islam for her Muslim husband. Instant regret. So clearly not raised a Muslim. She converts for the husband. Husband obviously follows the Quran, follows the teachings, beats the shit out of her, and she's the one that gets arrested. This is what you voted for. You get what you fucking deserve.
in the holding cells as we speak. I slept here last night. He took my kids.
How you got a cell phone in a holding cell?
I knew this would happen, and everything that I was afraid of happened.
People have been warning people against Islam for decades. Matt. I need to explain something to you, brother. People have not been warning people about Islam for decades. You are factually incorrect. We've been warning about it for centuries. The fucking Crusades, brother. Decades, yeah. I be the EB. Try millennia, son.
I did everything they asked. How is it that the abuser gets away with everything?
How is it the abuser gets away with everything? 'Cause it's Islam, bitch!
Because he's got money. And I just want to get out with my kids. I just want to get out with my kids safely. Loses everything.
Crusades part... Nah, bro, we'd be on Crusades part 4. There was like somewhere between 3 and 6. We refer to it as the Crusades. There was somewhere between 3 and 6 Crusades. I'm gonna lowball it and say 3. We need Crusades part 4. All right. Crusades part 1, 2, and 3. That was the original trilogy. All right. Crusades parts 1, 2, and 3 were the original trilogy. We're in an era now where people finally acknowledge that the prequels weren't bad. At least Revenge of the Sith. We need our Revenge of the Sith arc for the Crusades. Maybe it was 9. I thought it maxed out 6. Point is, there have been a lot of Crusades. But they never should have stopped. There were 8 major Crusades and arguable 9. Thank you, most you can have. Appreciate you.
So that he never lifts a finger 24/7, baby machine, so we can live out this picket fence dreams. It's not a life to love.
Alright. I don't know what song this is, but if Kanye put this as a backing track, it would murder, bro. It would if Kanye used this as a sample for his Heil Hitler sequel, bro, this shit would slap.
আমার ভিডিওতে সবকিছু রেকর্ড করা আছে पानी मारे देखे
Walking in Karbala, Iraq, I accidentally showed my ankle whilst tying my shoelace and got shouted at by this local man who gave a lecture to my guide in Arabic. Note for the girls, cover up when you visit here and only show face and hands. Iraq is safe and it's an amazing country to visit. Stay in Iraq. Just stay the fuck. I don't know where you're from. I'm gonna assume you're like an American tourist. I don't know. Stay the fuck there. We don't need you. You're retarded. We're not losing the champion. What's he looking at? Hold on. What's he looking at? Was Islam Bro just casually gooning at the airport? Muslim woman show how Islam treats women. This is a skit, all right? She looks kind of better like that, to be fair. She looks kind of better like that. Alright, and now all we need is an after picture where she's covered in bruises.
Women today have much more rights in Iran than they do in the rest of the Muslim world.
Hold on. Let's roll that back. This dumb bitch didn't just say what I think she did.
Women today have much more rights in Iran than they do in the rest of the Muslim world.
I want to show y'all a little something, something. Just in case. Just in case. Iranian women in the 70s. Yeah. They got so much more rights now. So much more rights.
They can vote, they can drive, they can work, they're in parliament, but their fundamental legal rights were cast aside. The rights the Shah brought in to protect women under the law, whether it's property rights, whether it's inheritance, whether it's custody, all of those kinds of rights.
She clarified compared to the rest of the Muslim world. Compared to what? Compared to, because I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive that Muslim women in Saudi Arabia have more rights. Not by much, but I'm almost goddamn positive Saudi Arabian women have more rights. Because I remember that Prince Ahmed Sambalim, or whatever his name is part of his Saudi Arabia 2030 project, which was initiated in like 2024, I think, actually made women's rights a key issue to drive tourism. Yeah, okay, Indonesia, parts of Africa, that's fair, but those places aren't real. Those are the places that God forgot. Like, you ever play World of Warcraft? You ever play World of Warcraft and people only inhabit, like, wherever the new expansion takes place? And you try and go back to, like, the Burning Crusade area, and there's fucking nobody but NPCs? That's what places like Africa are.
Rights the Shah brought in for women. And
yeah, UAE is the most liberal. That's correct, Michael.
First thing Ayatollah Khomeini did when he took over was go straight to the Ministry of Women and closed it down. Go straight into the streets and tell women, no, sorry, you thought we were going to let you not wear your hijabs if you didn't want to. You thought we were going to bring democracy, but we are not. You will all go back under the veil.
American travel to a Muslim country to see what it's like living under Islam.
How do you just know the name like that? How is the Florida trip funded again, Mr. Burr? No, because I've been following the, again, to be fair, I think I actually got his name a little bit wrong. Let me, Crown Prince, Saudi Arabia. It's, Mohammed bin Salim, I believe. Mohammed bin Salam, sorry, Mohammed bin Salam. But yeah, no, because I've been following the project, Saudi Arabia Tourism Project 2030 or whatever it's called for a while now.
Sharia law.
Are women's rights in Afghanistan that bad in 2025? I traveled here to understand more as a woman myself, and this is what I learned. Here's 5 things that are illegal for women in Afghanistan to do today.
You know, it might just be easier to list 5 things that are legal and just assume everything else is illegal.
Number 1, women are not allowed to appear or speak on media, television, radios, or in journalism.
Okay, well, that part actually sounds pretty fucking nice.
Women are also banned from praying in mosques and should pray at home. Women are also not allowed to receive an education after 6th grade.
You need to keep them. You need to keep them mentally retarded so that when you try and rape them underage, they don't realize it's bad.
Going to parks and exercising is also banned for women, limiting them from a lot of outdoor spaces. Lastly, women also have to dine in designated areas at restaurants. So to answer your question, yes, women's rights in Afghanistan in 2025 are really that bad. And the only thing worse is staying silent.
Let's see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Liberal white women in New York praise Sharia law. I don't even know how I spelled that correctly. I probably did not. Damn, where is it? Let's just do praise Islam. Alright, everyday Muslim, no. Law in the USA, or some neighborhood celebrates his win. There was these dumb white bitches. Fuck it, I can't find it. There were these dumb white bitches. They're in like a, some sort of Hooters adjacent establishment begging to bring forth Sharia law. Like, saying it's going to be amazing, it's going to be great, they can't wait, that's why they voted for Zoran Mamdani. These people, I don't care if you're an American citizen. If you are a woman and you are praising Sharia law, remove their citizenship, get them the fuck out. We don't need these people here. We don't need them here. Champions only in this country.
Make sure to follow and share so their stories can continue to be told.
Horrible, man. I really hope and pray for the day where we actually see Muslim men standing up for Muslim women.
Are you an idiot? I mean, you're pro-Israel, so obviously, but that goes against literally everything in their own fucking holy text. I wish we see Muslim men stand up for women. That's basic. I wish we would see Muslim men completely reject Islam. Fucking retard.
I fear it'll never come, but I really hope it does one day.
Yeah, that was... God damn, I love making fun of Muslims and making fun of women. Alright, we got at least one more video. We do. We have one more video, and then I'm going to wrap the stream up. We got this one right here. Actual justice warrior Mississippi proves classic education works. The libs be big mad, baby. The libs be big mad.
When we've come to Mississippi on mornings like this, they haven't always enjoyed the story we've come to tell. How they often
Mississippi miracle improving state literacy rate. Mississippi was like a bottom 3 state in the fucking country. They may have been number 1 at the bottom, well, I guess it'd be number 50. I'm pretty sure actually Nevada was number 50. Either way, going from that low, seeing a dramatic increase in the literacy rate, there we go.
and ranked lower than nearly every other state when it comes to healthcare, the economy, or education.
Good morning, Madison Station. Today is Tuesday.
But on this proud day, the good word is that their children are getting a great report card.
So right now, one of the things that
Arkansas is 47 out of 50. Thank you, Matt.
That we're witnessing across the United States of America is essentially the reorienting of this nation, as populations have decided that they no longer want to live in high tax, high regulation, high cost blue states and blue cities, and they're starting to move in droves to the south, to different red states, to places where there's significantly lower cost of living, lower taxes, and obviously this is making a lot of people in the left wing incredibly angry.
The only worry, though, is we're going to see like what's happening with Texas and Florida and Georgia. And I don't know if it's happening as much in Georgia because I think a lot of that shit's fraud. But anyway, these dumbasses are going to end up still voting blue and turning these, like, because this is an invasion. A lot of these red areas are being turned blue. So are we going to see that? I don't think we'll see it happen in areas like Mississippi. But I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't think it's safe.
This is one of the reasons why you can't go on social media without seeing snarky posts that try to compare your quote-unquote typical blue state to your quote-unquote typical red state. And oftentimes, the states that are put up by comparison are states like the state of Massachusetts versus the state of Mississippi. And in a bunch of metrics, Massachusetts, according to these people, absolutely blows out Mississippi in every possible regard. And we're talking education, crime, income levels, all sorts of other things that just prove that blue states are better. And yet, what we see, the broad trend in this country, is that people continuously move to the red states. They are abandoning Massachusetts despite all those stats that, again, feel like they're being padded like a super...
It's because they are. Like, there's been God knows how many documented cases of all of these three-letter organizations padding their stats. It's a normal thing.
Start trying to get a certain mark in order to get some kind of achievement at the end of the season. But in reality, what we're actually seeing is even those metrics that often are being upheld by outlier states like the state of Massachusetts starting to erode. And the reason for this is because red states are innovating. Red states are trying things. Red states are catching up.
I wouldn't call it innovating. Red states aren't innovating. They're positively regressing. And that sounds like a negative. That's why I threw the word positively in there. They are going back to the more traditional rejection of the state propaganda that needs to be done. For example, when it comes to education, when it comes to schools, when it comes to taxes, even though all taxes are a problem because taxation is theft. So, like, they're taking a step backwards, which is a good thing because it means they can realign and reorient their position to move forward in the positive direction.
And funnily
and yes, Jackass, some kids should just be left behind. No Child Left Behind Act was one of the worst possible things to happen in education in this country.
Enough, Mississippi, the state that they always want to kick in the teeth for being the most backward in this country, is proving that by leapfrogging an insane amount of positions, again, 40 positions on the education charts in just 13 years. So what we're going to do in this video is talk about the improvement in the Mississippi education system. We're going to talk about them in comparison to Massachusetts, or Boston of all places, the top of that blue state, that wealthy blue state. And we're going to see what happens when you actually institute sensible programs versus, again, trying to wokeify your education system, trying to pander to your minority population, and lowering standards in order to get, again, inflated stats. So this is what we're going to talk about today.
It's funny because I know he didn't mean minority in the literal, in the colloquial sense of like black people and shit, but that literally also applies.
But before we do, I want to thank everybody
who supports this
channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money.
Give me the money, okay?
So I really like...
Spoken like a true commie. Man, Anna Kasparian is so close now and again to being based. So close. She'll say the right shit for a couple of weeks. And then she just goes right back to jerking off Cenk Uyghur's affection for horsecock. When will she just take the fucking red pill? Come on, Anna. I know you hate Israel, but you can do it. You can hate Israel on the right wing as well. It's okay.
This comparison between Massachusetts and Mississippi because A, they both start with the letter M, so that obviously makes it stick in your mind, and B, even though these are put forward as your typical red state versus your typical blue state, in reality, these are extraordinarily outlier states in a lot of regards. First and foremost, the state of Massachusetts is one of the whitest states in the union. It's around 70% white, and their black population is about 9.9%, so higher than the national average.
Sounds like an alright place. Sounds like a pretty alright place.
In terms of white population, lower than the national average in terms of black population, and a lot of their other ethnic minority population happens to be Asians, which of course overperform in all sorts of metrics because Asians tend to be successful everywhere they go. Now, if you compare and contrast that to the state of Mississippi, you have a lower than average white population. From 53 to maybe 56% of Mississippi is non-white Hispanic, while almost 40% of their population happens to be black. And by the way, these are not immigrant black populations that outperform the national average. These are your standard American black population.
I don't know why it's so funny. You're like, these are your standard American blacks. These are your regular American blacks. Like, if you hear loud bass in a shitty beat up car and you look outside, you know it's going to be one of them standard American blacks.
So when you're comparing education stats between Mississippi and Massachusetts, what you're also seeing represented in those numbers,
based Ronald Reagan hate in the chat. You love to see it.
Is the achievement gap between black students and between white students and between Asian students, which again are overrepresented in Massachusetts in terms of whites and Asians and underrepresented in the state of Mississippi, while black students, again, those who do the worst on standardized tests, are overrepresented. Now, I give you this information because obviously the population makeup of your state is going to have some kind of impact on your statistics of your state, and yeah, having an underperforming...
Well, the population makeup, that only matters because all these different populations don't share a culture. And that, I mean, that's the root of the issue, and that's what needs to be fundamentally fucking fixed. Hypothetically, it like your population makeup shouldn't matter. Your ethnic makeup is really specifically what shouldn't matter if everybody agrees on the same culture, but that's not where the fuck we're at. That's why we need to get these motherfuckers out of here.
Population overrepresented is part of the reason why, although not the only reason why, the state of Mississippi in 2013 ranked 49th in literacy and in all these different education metrics, while Massachusetts, which by the way was even whiter back then in 2013, ranked number 1. Also, in addition to that, Massachusetts is very famous for its Protestant population that settled the territory. The Protestant work ethic is something that leads to success. So Massachusetts is...
You know, Protestant comes from the word protest, and you could say that there's a Protestant work ethic amongst the black community as well, in that they protest working.
It's quite literally founded by people who for centuries worked extremely hard and built up that state into what it is today, while Mississippi, of course, is a slave state that, again, was a rural population that didn't emphasize education and, again, did not have as developed an economy as a state that was the first to make slavery illegal, aka the state of Massachusetts, and thus had to be reliant.
Yo, Rebel Catholics would be a sick-ass band name, though. Rebel Catholics is a badass band name.
on other industries rather than the plantation economy. Now, of course, all of that is backdrop. All of that is the historical context. And the reason I give you that backdrop and historical context is because depending on what side of the extreme you are on, you are typically going to blame one of those two categories for the success and comparative failure of Massachusetts to Mississippi. But the fact is, neither explanation can explain what we've seen in the last 13 years, other than the fact that one state went in a good direction in terms of good policy in their education program, and another state absolutely refused to do so. Because despite all of those demographic challenges, despite all of that history of oppression and slavery and evil white racism in Mississippi, and in Massachusetts being the state that was first to actually abolish slavery, them having significantly less of that, what we end up seeing is that over the past 13 years, the state of Mississippi has leapfrogged from 49th in the union all the way to 9th, and by
I did not expect them to be that high. That is insane. Earlier, he said leapfrog 40 positions. I thought he was being hyperbolic. They literally jumped 45. That is insane.
By the way, the most dramatic leapfrog in terms of the demographic groups have been the Black and Hispanic population. So,
do black people be learning to read? Yo, we gotta send Kata and Atreus to Mississippi. I think that should be our new funding goal, crew. We need to raise money in super chats, and I could treat it as a charity so I could write it off my taxes, to send Kata and Atreus to Mississippi.
the non-white populations in the state of Mississippi have seen the most growth, and the reason for this is because they decided to go back to basics and start emphasizing phonics in their reading instruction.
Mississippi once had some of the lowest literacy rates in the country. Now their students' reading scores beat many states like New York and California. Some are calling it the Mississippi Miracle. How do they turn it around?
So no, you did not just mishear that. The state of Mississippi, again, that used to be 49th in the entire country, again, the largest black population of any state, has leapfrogged states like California, New York, and Illinois, all states that
Mississippi blacks are smarter than California blacks.
By the way, spend significantly more money on their education in just a 13-year period, specifically in these broke areas, and as we're going to find out, specifically among the Latin and, of course, the black population of students within that states that were struggling the most. And again, when you have 40% of your population from a demographic that is underperforming the entire country's other demographics, obviously that is what's going to lower you so dramatically, and when you start to course correct that, you are going to see that dramatic improvement. But the way that they did it is so simple and obvious, you would hope many of the states in the union would replicate it. However, we're actually seeing an opposite trend in many blue states, and this is causing a lot of people to want to pull their kids out of those public schools, and again, continuing the justification and again, the trends that we're seeing.
Well, so the reason we're seeing, I mean, it goes without saying, it's very obvious to anyone paying attention, but just in case, I'll explain the obvious. Yes, we're seeing the slipping, literacy rate of a lot of these minority communities due to the fact that leftist policy promotes treating them with kid gloves because they're minorities. Like, this is actual DEI in action. You've got black kids who are effectively getting special treatment of, hey, it's okay, you're dumb, we're going to pass you anyway, rather than holding them to the standard they hold white and Asian kids to.
Which is people leaving these blue states for red states. And by the way, the hugest demographic of people that are choosing red states over blue states are families with children under 5. So if you have a new young child, the likelihood you're going to want to leave a Massachusetts or New York or California, Los Angeles within California, or Chicago goes up exponentially, and the likelihood that you'll move to a place, and maybe not Mississippi particularly, but a Nashville or a Raleigh or an Austin or Houston or even a Dallas or something like that. Obviously, there's cities in Florida.
All right, New York, 1.9% decline. Alaska, 1.2% decline. California, 1.2% decline. Oregon, 0.9% decline. Washington, 0.7%. So yeah. Left, right, left, 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 right, left, left. Wisconsin, I'm not sure about. Minnesota, left. Maryland, left. Utah, right. So yeah, it seems like it is the literacy rate falling is dominated by left-leaning states. That's incredible.
Go up again exponentially. Just look at the charts, look at the number.
15 states have gained the most families net immigration. See, Idaho. So you got red. All right, so right, left, right, right, right. Arizona goes both ways. Left, left, left goes both ways. Left, right, 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 right.
They call it the Mississippi Miracle.
The two-party system is a complete hoax when you have all the immigrants. Well, the two-party system is a hoax anyway, but yes.
It really is. In 2000.
So right now, you say Wisconsin's right, but big blue cities like Milwaukee, Madison. Illinois is the same way. Illinois, in general, is a right-leaning country, but Chicago dominates everything.
2013, we were 49th in America in reading, and now we're number 9, which is crazy. 4th grade African American students are number 3 in math and reading, and then Hispanic students, 4th grade, are number 1 in math and number 2 in reading. I mean, that's amazing.
So that's actually the first lady of the state of Mississippi, and she actually made it her little stupid first lady cause to actually teach children to read. Now, if you guys will remember, this was actually the stupid cause of the first lady of George Herbert Walker Bush, Barbara Bush, when she was going around the country trying to emphasize education. But unlike George Herbert Walker Bush's wife, this woman was absolutely dead serious about this. So she was emphasizing a switch to a phonics-oriented curriculum. Again, hooked on phonics, if you're old enough to know what that is.
One's in the chat if you remember Hooked on Phonics, baby. One's in the chat if you're a fucking old head like your boy here and remember Hooked on Phonics.
Is, and strangely enough, this old, outdated, evil white racist program.
That's right. We got a good crew in here. Most of y'all remember that shit.
Not only worked, but it worked significantly and disproportionately for the Black and Hispanic students. Again, the Black students in the state of Mississippi are number 3 in the entire country in terms of math and in terms of reading. The Hispanic.
And Blacks getting smart, guys. And Blacks get I think we're worrying about the Jews a little bit too much. I think like the Jews and the Asians, they already good at this shit. I think we gotta worry about them sneaky Blacks. They getting real smart.
Hispanic students are number 1 in terms of math, again, compared to all other Hispanic groups, and number 2 in reading in the entire nation. And this is without the exorbitant spending on all these different DEI professionals, which we will get into in just a little bit, and of course, without the lowering of standards. In fact, standards were actually raised on these children, these poor, innocent, Baba Angel, struggling children with single mother house.
So you mean if you raise the standards, the kids have to meet the occasion, rise the occasion, otherwise they're fucked? And it works? If only the military had the same fucking thing.
Households that just don't have the time to do homework, they were actually asked to do more, and guess what? They did.
Amanda Malone is the state literacy director and explains that they also changed the way they teach children to read.
I want y'all to notice something. Let's look at this classroom.
Explains that they also changed the way they teach children.
What do you not see? Not see. What do you not see? I'll wait. Someone got to guess proper. No, Black people, wrong. Asians, wrong. I mean, okay, you're right. We don't see those. That's not what I mean. Bingo! Kurgan got it. Well done, Kurgan. You don't see pride flags. You don't see any of the cat got as well. Rainbow flags. Yes. You don't see pride flags.
Children to read.
Tapping hand up.
No longer using pictures. And instead teaching them how to structure sounds with the letters they see.
Without.
Whoever said Indians was wrong. Gal Karimon.
Teaching them.
You were wrong. Right there. Got the dot on the forehead and everything.
And how to structure sounds with the letters they see.
Without.
When I was trained to be a teacher, most of my training was through balanced literacy. It focuses a lot on cueing. I like to use the word guessing, looking at a picture and try to guess what's going on. Look at the beginning sound of a word and try to guess the word.
You see the word cow,
and you see the C, but you are a child and you don't know, so you kind of, could it be car? Could it be?
That's an excellent example.
So this is something that seems rather minor, rather unimportant, but it's actually quite fascinating how big of a difference this makes, because one of the things that we've seen is that a lot of left-wingers who have infected our education system have come up with this idea or this concept that reading is somehow natural, that written language is somehow encoded in our DNA or something.
Despite the fact that written language is a very recent invention when you look at the entire history of the human fucking race.
Something of the sort, and therefore it's just intuitive.
Like, aren't these lefties supposed to be the science-oriented motherfuckers? Trust the science, wear your fucking mask, get your 7th goddamn shots. The science tells us everything. And yet you don't look at just a very simple historical record to be like, oh, we only started writing shit down like 3,000 years ago.
And this is why you play the guessing game in order to identify words. But the thing is, written language was not common across the whole of the entire world. In fact, most written languages were spread by other places that had written languages. And if you try to trace it back to the root, to the core of how many written languages were like at your starting point, it's something like 3 or 4 in all of human history. So this would indicate the
what up, Zach Fucks?
Exact opposite of what these left-wingers are teaching. But again, the guesswork also serves a different purpose, because one of the things that they don't tell you with the example they gave right there, which is a cow as, you know, a C sound or whatever, which could be a car or something of the sort, is that oftentimes they actually give a free pass.
Junebug Love said I couldn't read till I was 13. I blame my black DNA. That's a fair thing to blame.
On words that they deem to be similar enough, even though, again, we should know better that they're absolutely not. So sometimes you'll see a picture of a horse and it will start with a P, and you guys will all know that that is a pony, aka a small horse or a Baba Angel horse, not an actually full-grown horse. But if a person is a student in a classroom and they guess horse, for whatever reason, under this like unstructured system, they would allow that to be a passable answer, even though there is actually a crucial difference between a
Whenever we say words have meaning, right? Whenever we're talking about words have meaning, and we're usually talking about it in the context of, you know, man, woman, the tranny debate, shit like that. But, like, this isn't just the idea of, oh, these lunatic lefties on X and on the internet at large are trying to gaslight you into changing language to fit their agenda. Like, this is an in-classroom practice removing the meaning of words. Like, what he's brought up as an example was perfect. Pony versus horse. Because we all did those worksheets as a kid, right? We all did those worksheets as a kid. It would show you the picture, and you'd have the little dashes, and then only the first letter would be filled in. So you see a picture of a horse, you see the P, and then O and Y, they're not filled out. The language, the words, it has a fucking meaning. So you have to know within the English language, of which there's like 150,000 words or something. All right, I need to find the word that starts with P that could work for this picture of a horse. Pony. Once you start removing that, and someone's like, well, I see the P here, but it's a picture of a horse. So I'm just going to scratch that out and write an H, and then write horse, even though horse is a longer word. So it still shouldn't work because it's not filling in the fucking blanks. Like, it is a structured attempt to remove the concept of language and words actually having meaning.
Horse and a pony.
You got a react request for me? Well, this is the last video we're covering because I've got stuff I need to do before the Doolies show. But maybe on the next stream. We'll see.
This is one of the reasons why we have different words.
Especially if you get us to tier 3. Especially if you get us to tier 3 on tomorrow night's stream on Neon Leon, so I can just do the Sunday special stream.
Words for it. Now, this is where the political correctness ends up also coming into play, because I'm sure you guys have heard or maybe are aware of the idea that black people tend to speak the English language just a little bit different than your average white person in the United States of America. Now,
as someone that recently spent 4 days surrounded by the blacks, can confirm.
This used to be referred to as Ebonics, or Hood Speak, or Black Speak, or Jive, if you're going to go with the movie Airplane as your example.
Cuddy say can't hang.
Oh, stewardess, I speak jive.
Oh, good.
He said that he's in great pain and he wants to know if you can help him.
All right, would you tell him to just relax and I'll be back as soon as I can with some medicine.
Just hang loose, blood. She gonna catch up on the rebound on the med side.
What it is, big mama? My mama raised no dummies. I duck a rap.
Cut me some slack, Jack.
But now it is called AAVE, aka African American Vernacular English.
What? AAVE, African American Vernacular English. Has anybody ever heard this term? Now, I know I live in the Midwest. I know that I'm not surrounded by a lot of black people, and the black people I am surrounded by, more often than not, are very white in their presentation because we live in God's state. But when the fuck did they come up with AAVE? Thal Greenskin says he's heard of it. That is insane, bro. We still say Ebonics around here. We still say Ebonics. Yeah, I get that it's the PC version of Ebonics, but when did that happen? That is the most mind-blowing fact that this video has taught me thus far.
And if you were to Google that term, you would find a bunch of different articles about how AAVE is just as valid as a language as the regular standard English language.
It's not, by the way.
And in reality, it's kind of evil, white, and racist for you to judge them based on their hood speak or whatever you want to call it, if you will. But the thing is, it is not just as valid. Like, sure, it is used and they can communicate with one.
Slang isn't just as valid. Like, take Ebonics out of it. Now, I use a lot of slang when I communicate, whether it be on stream, off streams. I talk with a lot of slang. I say words like ain't. Ain't is not a word. I don't give a fuck if it's in the dictionary. It's slang. It's not a word. If you can differentiate between slang and, proper, your proper vernacular, your proper way of speaking, but you're choosing to use the slang, that's fine. That's how language works. That's how casual conversation works. All languages have some variation of that. Japanese has it. I can't speak to very many other languages because Japanese is the only one I've ever actually taken lessons on. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, it's fine to use slang. But you have to understand the concept of slang and know it's slang. And that's what makes Ebonics different. Because a lot of black folk don't realize they just think that is the correct way of speaking.
Another. But if you are trying to read a book or study English, or if you're trying to compete with people who are studying English in India and they're specifically studying American English over there, I guarantee you they are studying your standard American English, proper sentence structure, proper grammar, and whatnot. And if you don't actually correct this, at least when you're in school among black kids, one of the things that you'll see is that they're less competent in terms of their reading of the English language than foreigners that are learning a standard American dialogue.
Correct.
So it turns out,
why do you have Indians come over here and they're able to be doctors at an exponential rate comparatively to blacks? Well, aside from the really lax, medical school qualifications in India, they learn to speak our fucking language better than the black people here. That is a sad fucking fact.
This whole thing with
and they do not do it very well. They do not very, very well. They can come again, but it's still better than the blacks.
The guesswork and that word is close enough and whatnot, it ends up hurting black students most of all because, again, they are already coming in with a disadvantage with the English language. And by the way, this would be very similar if we did this for Hispanic kids, where we allowed them to speak Spanglish if Spanish was their first language, because, it's just as valid of a dialect as the English language that is standard in the United States of America that's taught around the world, where every single book is written in that language, because guess what? When you go to university, there are no textbooks written in Ebonics. The SAT is written in standard American English, not Ebonics. And this is one of the reasons why black people have had a disadvantage. But it's not because of the fact that we don't pander to them enough. It's actually because we pander to them too much. And this results in terrible outcomes. And again, their retort, their response is to start calling all the standardized tests. And I'm talking talking about black activists and proponents of this bad teaching method, they call the test racist. They're like, no, that's...
What don't they call racist? Let me show y'all something. What don't these motherfuckers, call racist? Where's my... Here it is. Where'd it go? Here we are. From Swiper. No swiping. Yeah, it makes sense you're black. Your name's Swiper. You steal shit, I bet. You swipe shit. First look at Papa Asidu as Severus Snape, or as I prefer to call him, Severus Ape, in HBO's upcoming Harry Potter series. White people will take on roles to play Moses and Noah, but you won't bat an eye. Snape, a fictional character, is played by a black man, and you whine and complain. Same reason why John Boyega's character was destroyed. First of all, that is not why John Boyega's character was destroyed, but again, you black hacktivists can't understand that. So me. Show is advertised from the start of the marketing as accurate to the books, unlike the movies. Harry Potter fans see inaccuracies and have issues because they feel lied to. Random queer on X. Must be the racisms again. Everything is racist, these fucking losers. Everything. We have allowed and cultivated a society that just let these black activist motherfuckers in the 60s and 70s perpetuate a culture that destroys their own children.
That's the problem. You need to change all of society. Essentially, they're like the transes of language in order to cater to us. Otherwise, we're going to underperform. When in reality, we just need to get you on track. And the thing is, the United States used to be at the top in terms of education using this older system. So just going back to it allowed Mississippi to leapfrog all expectations. And again, a little bit over a decade.
Okay, we need to read and eliminate how many answers? Two.
It's a fundamental change in how we teach people to read, and a return to the days when we were getting kids to read by getting them hooked on phonics, a teaching method that fell out of favor in the late 1990s.
Hooked on phonics worked for me. So we have two different types of letters.
And it follows recent discoveries from scientists who study the brain. They've learned that unlike spoken...
These are not recent discoveries. We knew this shit. We just had the education system infiltrated by people who wanted to actively destroy it. But the news isn't going to tell you that. They're going to pretend, if scientists just found this out, then how come we knew this shit worked in the fucking 50s?
Language, reading is not a natural human skill.
You know, it's really funny that all this new research supposedly came out and it showed us all this information and it ended up directing us back to something that had worked in the past, which was Hooked on Phonics, because anybody who actually ended up having somebody in Hooked on Phonics or knew somebody who was in it knew that it absolutely worked. My cousin, again, we're 90s kids, ended up struggling with reading when he was in elementary school, and his parents, even though they got him a private tutor, and of course he was going to a private school at certain points in his life, decided that they were going to go with Hooked on Phonics to help him, because even though it had fallen out of favor in terms of the method of education, you could actually buy the product, order the CDs, and that would help your kid get through all the struggles that they had in terms of being able to read. And guess what? It turns out those old cassette tapes, those old CDs that sold across this country as a little bit of an aid, again, only for like $100, maybe $200 back in the day, those actually worked. That actually improved your kids' prospects. That actually improved their ability.
Schoolhouse Rock is one I remember a lot. Yeah, Schoolhouse Rock was awesome. Schoolhouse Rock was cool. I like Schoolhouse Rock.
To read, yet we turned away from it for decades, again, in favor of this DEI mindset. Now, again, I said I would...
Yeah, I never needed Hooked on Phonics either. They did have me in a special reading class when I was a kid, but that's because, they put me in the retarded kids reading class, because I lived in one school, or I didn't live at the school. I lived in one town and went to school there, and I would just read books, like for fun. It was just things, you read books. And then halfway through my first grade year, I moved to another school, and they would do this thing called AR reading, accelerated reading, where after you read a book, you had to take a test on it. Like, you had to go to the computer and take a test. Well, since I came to the school halfway through the school year, I didn't know that. So I was reading all these books, and I wasn't taking a test on any of them. So I finished my first grade year at this new school with 0 reading tests. And so they're like, oh, this kid must be fucking retarded. So in my second grade year, they put me in the retarded kid reading class. And when I was in 2nd grade, I shit you not, I had an 8th grade reading level. Like, I loved reading. Very, very literally, literacy accurate. And so they see me, like, reading... I read this, like, 6th grade level book about the history of carrier pigeons in World War II. And I was reading, like, the Harry Potter books. And about halfway through the year, they're seeing me reading these books and taking tests on them and scoring perfect scores. They're like, oh, we made a mistake. So they pulled me out of the retarded kids reading class.
Close this up by comparing Mississippi back to Massachusetts. And to be clear, we heard the metrics on how they jumped from 49th to 9th in just 13 years. But again, if you were to normalize for the demographics of the people in Mississippi to the people of Massachusetts.
I read a novelization of War of the Worlds in 3rd grade. That was, I specifically remember taking that AR test. A novelization of War of the Worlds in 3rd grade.
Massachusetts, what you would ultimately end up finding out is that Mississippi actually outperforms demographically when you compare it 1-to-1 the state of Massachusetts. But in addition to that, we also are seeing the opposite approach taking effect in the city of Boston, which they're currently lauding as a success, which was them reforming their standards, hiring DEI professionals who make $120,000 a pop, again, instead of the literacy coaches that they're hiring in the state of Mississippi on a much smaller budget.
Everything changed after state lawmakers passed a...
I read the Lord of the Rings. Well, I read The Hobbit in 4th grade. I don't think I read Lord of the Rings until 5th grade, but I know I read The Hobbit in 4th grade. It was super easy then.
Law in 2013 that sent literacy coaches to work with teachers in the classroom.
My favorites, though, like around 1st, 2nd grade, Junie B. Ramona Quimby. Like 1st, 2nd grade, Ramona Quimby, Beverly Cleary. That shit was so good. I love me the Ramona Quimby books. And Hatchet, bro. Hatchet, Brian's Winter, Brian's Return, The River. I think it was the one. I loved the Hatchet books.
Today, nearly 60 of these specialists travel from school to school.
I had a lot of Hardy Boys books, but I was never big on the Hardy Boys.
Across the state.
And what we ended up seeing in the state of Massachusetts, specifically in the city of Boston, was that their graduation rate is the highest among any state, and Mayor Michelle Wu is celebrating that increase in graduation rate.
So, yeah, graduating doesn't mean you're smart. They're just letting you through because you're retarded and they don't want to hold you back.
Boston Public Schools graduation rate was 81.3%. That
I don't know if you guys have ever followed it. Watch some of this gal's interviews. Michelle Wu. She is the DEI hire to end all DEI hires. She has said some ridiculous shit.
Highest rate in recorded history since the state began collecting all the numbers and publishing them in 2006. What that means is that overall, 3,377 students graduated from BPS last year, which was 400 more students than the previous year. We saw an increase in graduation rates across every single student demographic group, with the biggest gains by multilingual learners.
Yeah, I read Chronicles of Narnia in 3rd, 4th grade. Read the series of unfortunate events books all the way up through middle school, even though they were a bit below the reading level. Because when they started, those books started coming out, and I was in like 3rd or 4th grade or something. But like, there's 13 of them, and so I kept reading them as the years went on, even though they were below the reading, because I wanted to get the whole story.
Who jumped up by 5 percentage points.
The Horse and His Boy is my favorite as well, and it's the one that never gets mentioned. Because it's effectively a filler book. It's a side story. The Horse and His Boy and Prince Caspian are my favorites.
And it's no coincidence that alongside the highest ever graduation rate, we also saw one of the lowest dropout rates in BPS recorded history.
Now, this is great. Obviously, graduation rate up, that means education do gooder than it did before. But the thing is, graduation rates, those are completely under the control of the people managing your local board of education, which means you can actually inflate graduation
Yo, someone ban Matt Stanford, bro. Someone ban that bitch.
Rates, and that's exactly what they did in the city of Boston. They actually got rid of F grades because those are offensive. Those are absolutely terrible.
And if you go to school in Boston, you will understand that offensive starts with F.
And of course, they ended up paying for all these DEI consultants that again do things like wokeify you away from hooked on phonics, again to try to get improved feelings among the students and improved fake metrics. They're padding their stats. That's exactly what's happening. But the thing is, we actually have the test data for the state of Massachusetts, and what we end up finding out is that their poorest students, the ones who are marginalized minority students that
are the ones that are retarded. Yep, your blacks and Latinos and shit, all 9% of them in Boston are the ones that turns out are retarded.
Need the DEI the absolute most. Their test scores went down despite the fact that their graduation rates went up. So supposedly backward ass Mississippi, the ideal red state, is getting better results, again, especially when you compare demographic to demographic, at about $10,000 per student, which is among the lowest in terms of per pupil spending in the entire country, than the state of Massachusetts.
Yeah, it's almost like kids don't take money to, it doesn't take money to bring kids up proper. This is why I hate all these lefties. And frankly, you hear right-wingers say this shit too. I'm too scared to have a kid because I'm not financially stable. Kids ain't fucking expensive. They never have been. Kids aren't, they're not expensive in the public school system. They're not expensive to have yourselves. Just buy food and make sure they don't die. That's all the fuck it takes.
Which is about $20,000 per pupil, and the
yeah, I read Del Toro Quest in like 5th grade. I'm pretty sure that came out around the time I was in 5th grade. I had those books too.
City of Boston, which is seeing their results go down, which is about $31,000 per pupil spending in that particular city. And yeah, obviously the bang for your buck, even adjusting for incomes and all that, seems to be more significant in Mississippi. And there's a reason why people are calling on that particular state to figure out what they're doing correctly and again, learn about the process rather than asking Massachusetts how they too can lower standards in order to artificially boost their graduation rates. Now, of course, we expect Massachusetts to overperform because all these high-income parents, they actually get their kids the tutors and everything they need to be successful. The kids that are getting left behind are the ones that can't actually afford that.
So take a look. In Mississippi, 4th grade reading scores keep going up, but across the country, they're falling more than 3 points since the pandemic. And experts say that the nation's test scores from 2024 are particularly alarming. Only about a third.
Test scores don't matter. It's been proven over and over again that standardized tests do nothing for intelligence. So honestly, we need to ban standardized tests. There should be a blanket ban across the entire country on standardized tests. It has been proven over and over again they do not improve children's intelligence.
Graders are reading at grade level.
But Mississippi has created a system where those poor, marginalized kids, again, in a red state that supposedly hates them, that doesn't like the kids, that doesn't like the black kids, end up having a chance to succeed. And that's the miracle of Mississippi, a miracle that was hard fought, again, through hard work and going back to basics. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know your thoughts down in the comments.
Excellent video. Great video to go out on. I do have one announcement, a couple announcements for you in the stream. There's a video, give it a like. Yeah, you'll love to see it. I am quite happy hearing that states like Mississippi and whatnot, and ones that had, again, traditionally, stereotypically, very stupid fucking children, are the ones that are absolutely killing it. That's that good shit. Hopefully, we've got more parents that are paying attention to this. Hopefully, more parents are realizing that these red states actually have a proper metric of teaching that children... Like, the worry, of course, is that these parents in blue states move to the red states. They vote for blue state policies. That is worrisome. But if you're raising a generation of smarter kids, hopefully that's offsets or mitigates it. I don't know. Only time will tell. But that's where I stand on that. That being said, I would like to remind you guys, or maybe if you're not in the Discord you didn't see, the limited time MegaCon Shark Attack shirt. I'm making nearly no profit on these, by the way. Like it's like a $2 profit. But this will only be available. This dropped last night. Will only be available until the end of the month that I'm retiring it. We got IB the EB and Hugo. St. Hugo came up with this. Me being attacked by the shark. So it's St. Hugo's design, and IB the EB's design. They came up with this. It's on the front. The back says Vital Idols made this happen. MegaCon 2026. So, if you guys would like to pick this up, it will only be available until the end of the month, and then I'm retiring it just as a sort of, appreciation and thank you for you guys getting us to MegaCon, getting me to MegaCon. It was fantastic. It means the absolute world to me. I've talked a lot about MegaCon since we got back. But yeah, there's that shirt. Feel free to check one out. You just go to the shop, and you go to my account on YouTube, Words of Paradise, click shop or store or whatever it says, and then go to the Fourth Wall store, and you can pick it up. But it is getting removed on April 1st. Shirt will no longer be available. So, if you guys want to, check that out. Tonight, I will be on Hold My DualShock in about an hour and a half. After that, at about between 9 and 9:30, we are doing the watch party for Brain Scan, an Edward Furlong B horror movie from the 90s. We're doing that in the Discord tonight. And then later tonight, after the Brain Scan watch party, over on my gaming channel, me and Hypno will be starting our next co-op game, because me and Hypno are starting our co-op gaming show. So on my gaming channel, Glitch in Paradise, he and I will be doing, I think it's Revenge of the Forbidden Planet is the name of the game. Either way, so all that is the information today. Pick up that MegaCon shirt if you want. It's only available for about 5 days. Stream with the Dualies. Watch party tonight. And then me and Hypno got a co-op gaming stream over on my gaming channel. Let me figure out who is live, who we're going to raid. Thank you for that gaming channel link, Galcarimon. If you guys have not subbed to my gaming channel, is that one over there. Galcarimon just dropped it in the chat. And let's see who's live. Let's see who we're going to raid. We're going to raid Celestium. Wait, she is live, right? No, it's scheduled. Hold on. Redirect. No, she's live. All right, we're going to raid Celestium, because she'll be coming on the show sometime soon. Her and I have been talking. So everybody, get into Celestium's chat. Tell her Words of Paradise raid. That's who we are. The words, I know we normally say Vital Idol raid. Her and I aren't familiar with each other yet. So tell her Words of Paradise raid. And I will see you guys tonight on Hold My DualShock. Thank you so much for the donos. It means the world to me. And tomorrow's Neon Leon. Deuces.